Good morning. Hey, can't stop walking, Darren. Hey, 93 Stang. How you guys doing this morning? I'm eating a toffee. I don't know why I decided to eat a toffee at this time of morning, which is like stuck in my teeth, but that's what I decided to do. Crazy. But let me wait for people to come into the chat. They're probably still waking up. And I got my coffee this morning. Hey, Renaissance Grandma, how you doing today? It's a nice sunny day over here today. It's cold. The temperature, oh my God, it's cold. But it's nice and sunny, which helps. Hey, Joshua. Good morning to you. Let me put my glasses on. Hopefully it's not slower spooling. I don't think it is. I think it's okay today. I need to clean my glasses. So we're going to talk. I had a topic today, but I had to divert it because I forgot today's a long weekend and I have things to do. So we'll just chit chat today about stuff in general. But good morning, Willie Sir Jess Jam. And I'm great. I went to the for blood work and checked up. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. I know going to the I had to finish my that reminds me 93 Stang. I got to finish my some of my tests. She sent me the sheets to go to the lab and I have to go and finish off some of my tests. So that reminds me so that she can get all the results in and then go back for my full assessment. But it's stressful when you have to go get your work done because you're already feeling like, oh God, am I sick? You're not sick, it's just the stress. Let me see here. I know, but it's nice to get good news when everything a clean bill of health. Let me see what I missed. I'm trying to keep up with the chat today. It was peaceful outside. That's good. Hey, Fifi, I see you there. Let me see here. Try to workout challenge. Oh, you're doing the workout challenge. I can't commit to none of that. I'm just doing what I can. Hey, Angela. Good morning to you. I'm trying to, get back active, but it's honestly, it's cold over here. I'm not just saying that it's cold. And I should be doing it inside, but I'm just trying to get my spring cleaning done from now. The glasses seem to be not staying straight. Blessings to you, D Macro. Good morning. So yeah, it's a beautiful sunny weekend today so far. So I'm happy. Okay, so everybody, hey, unicorn lady. So yeah, so I'm trying to get my house in order, spring cleaning. So I got the one section done. So what happened to me is the hydroponics unit, which I love. The third one that I haven't really shown on any updates. It's just a third unit that I have that I'm using that does the crack key method. It's the same one that Renaissance has. That same I think it's I do or I do. And I don't know what happened. So those of you who grow food, those of you in the bushes, you let me know because I did not have any aphids. Hey, JD forever. Oh, I know you're in school, girl. Yep, you in school. You doing a lot of hard courses. So thanks for checking in. So I don't know. I didn't have hey African. When do you guys sleep? Really? I left you guys last night on Rooster. But I think this is what happened because I didn't have any aphids in the house. I had gnats. So two things happened with the gardening. I'll give you that update before we start talking. The gingers in the garage, it had to go. It was the last thing lingering, keeping the gnats alive. I put sticky traps all around the hydroponics. Only one gnat has been caught. So I think that was the last place that they were hiding. I tried. I really did. But the soil has got to go. Only thing here is house plants that already had their treatment done. So that's fine. Hey, Erica. And I think I got everybody. Hopefully. And so they're outside. Had to go. So I don't know about you guys. Some people have, I think Rambo did a video on gnats. Yeah, Rambo did a video on gnats. And I saw last night, I was watching a video, a short, either a short or a video with J3GS Farms. He put sand on top of his tree propagating station. Same thing. Gnats. It doesn't work, guys. I don't want to be negative, but it doesn't work unless you're gonna burn out, fire up the soil, cook it. Like, I don't know. It doesn't work. Everything's in the garage now. It had to go. I had aphids on my bok choy and my kale in the third unit. The only thing I did differently was that I used seeds that I harvested myself. So can somebody tell me, or maybe you know, was that the reason? Because the seeds that I harvested were from plants that were infested with aphids. I let them die, I let them go to seed, and I harvested those seeds. I let them dry. I sifted out the pods as much as I could, but there's still some pod shells in the bag. And I used those seeds. I think that's what happened. Somebody tell me maybe if that was the problem, because every other seed that I use was from a pre-packaged store-bought seed. And now I have aphids in my house. So the same day I found the aphids is the same day Mike did a video. He dropped a video on aphids. So you guys tell me. Can you guys hear me? It sounds like I think you guys can hear me because okay. It just sounds weird for a second there. Hey, motivated to homestead. So you guys let me know. Could the seeds have eggs in them that maybe were dormant? Oh, thank you, D-Mac. That were dormant, and now that's why I have aphids in the house. So I sprayed it down with neem oil. That whole hydroponics unit, I think I'm going to have to kill, like, this, destroy the plants that are no good, because some of them are struggling, and then start fresh. But I think the seeds carried some eggs from the aphids or something, and now they were flourishing. If I didn't catch them and realize that those were aphids, they would have been, I don't know what happened to that whole unit would have been lost, and they would have gone to my WIG unit. So I was able to say, hey, triple threat, I was able to save the other 2 units. And the WIG is going well. Also, I noticed, I don't know if you guys do hydroponics, let me know. The lettuce that I tried from the WIG tastes bitter. And these are not old lettuces. These are young and tender, as Nikki would say. And they still taste a bit bitter. I'm talking about Burpee Bib, Black Seeded Simpson, Butter Crunch. Like, hey, G Mama, maybe you can help me, G Mama. Do you find your lettuce in the hydroponics taste bitter? Because these are young and tender, and I'm tasting a bitter taste. And I have the same problem even in my soil. Is it my taste buds, or is it the plants? Like, it's different versions of lettuce, and it still tastes funky to me. And I don't know if you heard my question, G Mama. I had an aphid infestation in my 3rd hydroponic unit. That's a cracky kind of method. Maybe that's part of it. I use seeds from the store, except for one, the Shuzhou bok choy. I use the seeds that I harvested myself. And that plant that I harvested it from did have an aphid infestation, but I let it go to seed. I let it die. And those seeds I use, and I think those seeds may have had eggs in them. I didn't realize that, I dried them in the sun. I dried them on a tray. I did all the stuff, and it still is a problem. Let me see what Renaissance just said. I agree. Nothing works. That's why I'm anti-dirt in the house. So no bugs in the hydroponics. Not sure how aphids. I think that's the only thing that I did in that unit was use seeds that I harvested myself. Everything else, I use the store-bought seeds, and I leave my personal seeds to direct sow outside or to use in, like, the seed trays when I'm going to start my seeds. So something's not too right. So hopefully we can maybe figure this out today or next week. Just think about it, because it doesn't make any sense. How am I getting aphids in the house in February and I had no aphids? It must have come from the seeds. There must have been something in the Ziploc bag that was dormant, and me planting those seeds made it wake up. and hatch. Let me see here. Are you feeding them? Bitter has to do with the nutrients. I did put nutrients in the water. My throat, geez. But I haven't topped it up. I think it's probably time for a top up. Is there a particular nutrient that adds to sweetness? Because I'm on the verge of putting sugar in the water. But I did put nutrients. They look good. They look well, even though I sprayed them with neem oil to kill, the gnats that were there. But and the color look. I'm looking at it now. The color looks good, but I'm sure there's some ratio that maybe is wrong. It's gonna be time to add more water to that unit. So maybe give me a few minutes and drop. Okay, I'll drop the link in a few minutes. Sorry, my throat. It ain't no way we could grow any type of veggies indoors. The critters. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't. Everybody has a lot to say about if you are growing indoors, but you have a greenhouse or a solarium. People don't put things into context. I'm talking about in the house that you live and eat dinner, cook your food like in your house. I don't know anybody who's had success bringing dirt into their house and not having bugs. If you have a sunroom to the side of your house attached to your house, fine, move in. Bugs can move in because you're going to, get rid of them. But yeah, I'm done with soil in the house. And unfortunately, that means the pineapple that I have in water is going to have to maybe go in hydroponics. I have to figure it out. I'll have to figure it out. 1 second. Someone's just. Okay. Hey, Gina. Sorry, let me just reply to this. Okay. So that's what I'm finding. So, and also, okay, so now back onto a new topic, but it's going to be still about gardening. So I'm thinking seriously, I don't know what you guys are thinking. I know we're all planning your spring 2023 gardens. Some of you are sooner than others because of your climate and so forth. But I'm considering scaling back my garden this year. And that may sound like ridiculous or like, what? Don't you see what's going on in the world? Yes. So the last 2 weeks have been really an emotional roller coaster. You see what's going on in the news. I went from a balloon in the States is crossing the sky. We talked about, touch on the balloon. Then there was a balloon in the where was it? Alaska, size of a car. I'm like, okay, yeah. Then I turn the next day. There's a object in the sky in Canada in the Yukon. I'm like, what? We have one too? Oh no! Now it's getting too close to home. Then we went from that to a train derailment. Then there's another trail. I think there's 2 more. I can't keep up. I think there's about 2 or 3 or 4. Then there was a mass incident at MSU. I didn't even know about that till I saw Hudson's community tab posting MS prayers for MSU. Then I looked it up. Then there was an issue at a high school over here in Toronto. On a lunch break, pow went down, and I think there's a young person in critical condition. To there was an earthquake in like you add up the last 14 days, and literally just ups and downs, emotional roller coaster. So I'm thinking about that. I said the same. I want to be able to exactly. That's part of it too, Triple. So the emotional roller coaster you're on, you're seeing what's happening, and then you've made a plan for the year. I made a plan from spring or last fall, what I'm going to do for this year, and how much work I want to put forth. Number one. So Triple talking about keeping up with harvesting and preserving. That I found was very difficult. I also wasn't getting enough of any one particular crop to really. I'm not complaining. Like, I ate the food, I cooked the food, I froze some of the stuff, but I didn't have anything to really can except for the tomatoes at the parents' garden. They had tons of tomatoes. What's my end goal? And with all that's happening with the world and all the turmoil and all the stress that we each are under, whether we want to admit it or not, it does cause some emotional stress. What's your end goal? And right now I had to reshuffle. Well, I haven't fully decided, but I'm just discussing it with you guys and see how you guys are feeling. I need to focus on infrastructure. And there's a lot of things that I've been doing manually that I've been trying to get done automated. Like watering the garden for me is a lot of I enjoy doing it, but it's a lot of work. I'm not complaining, but if I have to do other things and juggle other things, I don't know. I need to get that on an automated system. I'm not planting corn or squash either. I am cutting out corn, but I brought it back because it's a good deterrent for the squirrels. Hey, Urban. Okay. Hi, I bring it. I think there's some new people here today. Good to see you guys. And exactly, if you don't have time to preserve the food, you're giving the food away and it's still going to waste. I don't know. I'm trying to just balance some of what I'm going to be doing in 2023, and watering for me is a has been an issue. I did find on the Instagram a simplistic water catchment system that I can do by myself. Well, I'll need a bit of help. And I can put a watering mechanism on the top of my garden, because bringing water up the hill is not it's time consuming, and it's labor intensive, and it's heavy to carry a bucket of water. Well, why don't you use the hose? I use the hose sometimes, but I'm trying to get away from tap water. I'm trying to rely more heavily on rainwater, especially with what's going on. Now, what happened in Ohio, I don't think it affected Gina, because I saw her last night on her live, so she can let us know if what's going on in Ohio from her perspective, and some other people. I think TLC's in Ohio. I think G Mama's in Ohio too. I mean, she's not there, but at least what they're hearing on their local news might be differing from what I'm hearing over here. And the water being contaminated is a concern now. The air being contaminated, and the air in other areas, because it's going to rain and it's going to, and it's funny enough. Remember, we talked about, I mentioned having a greenhouse or a high tunnel because of third party interference, polluting the soil and the water and the air. And then look what happened now. Like, sometimes we talk about stuff in these lives and it's like it's divine, because nobody saw this nobody saw this coming. Yeah, it's not good to waste food, but when you grow more than you can use and you don't have livestock to use it. My concern has been growing a lot outside with some of these things going on in the world that may contaminate my garden. Exactly. So I let me clear my throat off the mic. Hold on. I'm thinking the same thing, Renaissance. So hey, D Moon, I see you there. Good morning. I'm definitely going to focus more on growing indoors, because and I'm also focusing on livestock this year. So I'm seriously considering scaling back the garden. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to have food. Remember, I collaborate with my parents' property, and I help grow over there and I grow over here. So there's literally two gardens that we're feeding from. Mine is container garden, and it's also a raised bed. Theirs is a raised bed in-ground garden that's been in-ground for years. We did build some raised beds and raise it up so that, they're old. When they're older, they didn't have to bend, but it's still an in-ground garden. We just put some walls up and added some more compost to break down, but it's going all the way to the ground. If they're growing there and I'm working with their garden, I don't have to put so much effort into my garden. My garden is more to experiment and to try new crops and figure out what we like and expand from there. Also control bugs and animals. That's what I'm just trying to juggle and balance while I'm planning the spring garden. So I'm just listening to what you guys are saying and how you guys are thinking the same thing, because what's going on in these streets and the environmental impact is very concerning for us who grow food. The pollutions in the air and in the water and in the land, because they're cleaning from point A, and where's it going? Where's it being dumped? I don't know. And from what I understand, from what I'm hearing on other people's chats and on the news, where it leaked is spreading to the Mississippi. It goes down to the Mississippi River. So some of you guys who are nowhere near the site that it happened are still going to be affected. Decoy plants sound like a plan. Yes, exactly. So the corn to me is basically, I don't have to do any work. The corn will take care of itself. I'll put direct sow in a grow bag or wherever, and it grows on its own. And the squirrels and the other creatures can have at it. I don't plan to eat the corn. And I did find a lovely decorative corn yesterday I went shopping for seeds at the orange store. Let me sidebar to the orange store. I went to the store to go get some seeds, some sage. I was looking for sage and something else for the herb garden challenge, even though I already started it for my own personal herbs. I said, where are the seeds? I was up and down and I was going to leave the store. I was pissed. I said, where's the seeds? She goes, oh, in the entrance. This particular store is designed a little weird. So I park near the entrance and walk in from the back, the contractor side, because when you leave the store, you have to leave from that side. So if you come in through the entrance and you park near the entrance, you have to end up going around and end up walking further. You're carrying stuff to go back to your car. So I put my car where I want to pick it up from and then walked in reverse. They put the seeds in the entrance. I said, do you not know it's cold outside? Do you know how cold it is outside? And she looked at me. New management, they wanted to put the store the way they want to put it and put things. I said, listen here. You tell your manager. And my sister's like, oh, you're such a difficult customer. You tell your manager, when I come into the store and I see dirt and peat pellets and all the stuff for planting and seed starting in a certain area, I expect the seeds to be here also. I'm not walking all over the place looking for stuff. That should all be in the same section. Do you want my money? I was just irritated. My money or not? She's laughing. I go, you tell him. You tell him I said. Then I'm shopping with my sister looking for the herbs and stuff. They had no. You guys tell me how it is in your city. They had herbs. They had flowers. They had some greens in a particular brand, but I saw no cabbages. I didn't see any bok choy, like all the vegetables. I saw a lot of beans, bush beans, running beans, some lettuces and spring mixes, but very little vegetables over here. Maybe because I'm in the cold climate, they're kind of bringing them out in stages. And then an employee came shopping, but I think he was watching us. Again, got me irritated, but I just ignored him because I came here for my herbs and that was what I wanted to do. We'll be listening, making a pot of vegetable soup. Ooh, that sounds good. Must be some pumpkin soup, eh? D-mood. So anyways, that's my sidebar. So I finally got the herbs. I got tarragon, which was not on my list, but I got it because I know how, and I think marjoram, sage, and I got one more. It's right over there. I can't remember. Something. Marjoram, tarragon, sage. Maybe those are the three. And that's what I got. So that's going. So the herbs are fine indoors. I will put some outdoors. What time do we need? Oh, yeah, exactly. When do we have our bowls ready for the soup? Make sure there's dumpling in the soup. D-mood. I don't like soup without dumpling. That's not right. There should be at least 3 dumplings per bowl of soup. Thank you. As if I'm drinking the soup. Okay, take care, Joshua. I think he's stepped up. Someone said you're stepping out. Okay. So, hey, Psalms 146. So that's what I'm thinking of. Back to the topic. So all that's happening in the world, I know you guys all know what's going on. I'm not going to go into that, but how does it affect us? I think I even heard somebody mention that people's livestock were passing on because of the chemical fumes in the air. Chickens, obviously fish are going in the water because the water is totally contaminated. Like, that's a problem. And that doesn't even include microorganisms. Some of us want to act like, oh, it doesn't affect us. It does. It affects our planning for our garden. Psalms is saying, these recent events had me dreaming that we need to bug out because of a flood that people caused by purposely damaging dams and stuff. And I wake up rethinking what's in my bug out bag. You're perfectly right. That's exactly why I'm reshuffling right now and rethinking, because I'm like, in January I talked to you all about having your plan. And hey, I bring it. I said hi to you, but I think you were in the ads. So good to see you. Having a 3-month, 6-month, 12-month goals. And I'm sure, I hope you all made your goals and your plans for the next year or two and what you're going to be doing, especially those of us who are trying to get into some land ownership in terms of, homesteading. And I had to reshuffle some things because I'm like, there's too many things happening. The last 2 weeks alone, there's just too much going on. Too much for me to ignore, too much for me to, keep your head in the sand. Okay, so what am I going to do? Do I want to spend all my time like last year in the garden? Is that a luxury I can afford? Hey, Yaya. Hey, TLC. Is that a luxury I can afford? I don't know if I can afford that, because now I'm going to have to be hustling even more, in my opinion, to get the income to get some of these big purchases out the way and get the infrastructure that I need. The infrastructure includes solar in case the power goes out, heating in case the power goes out in the winter in a cold climate, get my fireplace up and going if I can. If not, then have heat sources, whether kerosene heat or propane heaters and extra tanks. My water, you guys know I got my water game on point, and I bought the big jugs. But now I'm like, I'm gonna have to basically have triple the amount that I was planning to have. I need space. That's why I'm getting my spring cleaning kind of done now, so that things can be in a neater order. I don't like clutter and chaos in the house. It gets me anxious. So I want to keep things, but I need to stock up. So things that I was gonna like do now, I have to kind of put those on pause because they're not as important as what needs to be done based on the current events. The contamination is flowing south via the waterways and went north via the air currents and wind. Exactly. And Ohio's not that far from Detroit, which is not that far from Windsor, which is the Canadian side, which is not that far from Chatham and who knows. These things are affecting all of us. So don't think it's just over there. It may be over there that it happened, but trust and believe it's rolling over here. Hey, Nikki, it's rolling over here. And it's funny, not funny, that we talked about growing food outdoors in a way and protecting it from pollutants. And then, hey, Shantirement, and all of a sudden, something's happening that's affecting all of us. Investing in a greenhouse, I know it's an expensive purchase because you can't buy the little cheap ones, because those will just blow away in any little windstorm. That thing is gone, unless you can have somebody kind of shore it up for you and stabilize it. But growing in a greenhouse is not a luxury or a what's the word, a bougie. It's not bougie, like, oh, you're just being extra. It's actually now necessary. In my opinion, it's very necessary, because you can't control what people are doing in the environment, and that's going to affect you. Doesn't matter how good your soil is. We're here talking about soil health with like Planter and David Corey and other people. We're talking about soil health. You could be doing everything right, and then something like this happens in your area or nearby, and all those chemicals are now in your soil, in your water, in the rainwater that you're catching to water your crops. Oh, it is pumpkin soup. Oh, yeah, thanks. I'm getting my herb game on because I see you guys doing herbs. But yeah, 3 dumplings per bowl of soup. I cannot stand when people give me soup, and I'm like, where's? And the first thing people they know me know, like, where's the dumpling? And I'm looking with the spoon for the. If I don't see, I said, give me some more dumpling right now. It's war. It's war. Anyways, but yeah, back to hey, Camille. And I think if I missed you guys, if I didn't see you, I really didn't see you. Sometimes I'm scrolling down, so if I missed you, my apologies. Welcome to the chat. Thanks for coming in. Oh, you're ready? Did I drop? Hold on, let me drop the link again. And if you don't know, you can type in the chat #urban, and that will drop your link so that you can connect with people. People can find you easily. And that's and help build your community and vice versa. I'm good with the just planted cucumbers, tomatoes, okra. You're right, 93 Stang. Like people like us who know how to grow food. I'm not talking about people who are new to this gardening thing. People who um people who are new to gardening, they should experiment and try all the different things because you need to know what you like and how things taste when you grow them yourselves. But those of us who kind of been growing on and off, or your parents used to grow, I think we can make some allowances. And last night, funny enough, Planter was talking about giving your soil a rest. I I was considering, like, I gave some beds a rest last year, and my plan was to plant everything this year in every location. Now I'm like, I gave my soil a rest. Should I cover them? So I covered the beds last fall with cardboard. Hopefully that protects them from some pollution. I don't know. I didn't do any research. I just did something and tried it. But I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do going forward. And I'm sure you guys are doing the same, especially those of you who are near the areas that have this environmental impact. And I am going to focus on more fruit trees. Fruit trees to me they take care of themselves. Yes, I have to water them in a pot if they're in a pot. I do have to fertilize them. I do have to keep an eye for any infestations or diseases, but it's fairly low maintenance in my opinion, and they give me an abundance of food. So I am going to be buying fruit trees this year. Even though I may scale back the garden and I may just grow more of a few things. That's what I'm going to focus on. Oh, the deer ate your okra. Well, you can't blame them. Okra is really good for you. Some people don't like okra, but okra is very good for you. You know, okay. I think I'm caught up to the. Hold on, let me trying to catch up to the chat. I recently did solar and it helps with the bills. I skipped quite a few bills in 2022. I highly recommend it. See, yes, this is what I'm trying to do. And also my issue is, it doesn't matter where I do it, because whatever I do here I can bring somewhere else. So I need something that's going to be portable and that I can transfer somewhere else. And that's what I'm working on, something that's portable and transferable. I won't be surprised increase. Oh, well, those of you who, well, in Toronto for sure, Ontario, I told you guys the water was very bleachy. Definitely was bleachy. I'm still paying for it now with my skin. It's finally starting to clear up, but I'm sure you guys, I've mentioned it, but you guys will see, especially in my videos, because I have to record them myself, so you see my hands. You don't see me, but my hands still have some discoloration, especially my knuckles. It's not just dry skin in terms of me. I cream my skin very often, but the eczema is so bad that the cream literally, I don't know where it goes. The deer are out of control here too. Yep. Oh, 93 Stang's plan is probably to use some kind of Smith and Weston or Mossberg or something to that line. Okay, I'm trying to catch up. Psalms is saying, I am on the same page with need more water. I was trying to have enough bottles, but my husband has been keep taking them. And now we finally see a good reason for me to have been doing this. Okay, you see? That's very good. Hey, Hudson. Okay, I see you, G Mama.
Dang, you fast.
Oh, I'm fast. I should give you a minute just to breathe, right? Okay, make sure my face is good. As soon as I heard the ding, I go, okay, she's here. Hold on.
Hey, what's going on with y'all?
Well, I'm good. I think the chat's good too. Everyone seems to be up and at 'em and chipper, man.
Okay, I can't see the chat no more. It's like gone, totally vanished.
I'll try to keep putting it up. He's saying I'll put a scarecrow out there, motion sensor light, and a cheap little solar radio. Oh, I think the radio turns off the animals, and I'm going to pee around the garden.
Yeah, that's
true. Radio too for the ground. The groundhog and the raccoon. I heard a radio does help
Yeah, any
Them stink.
noises or
Yeah,
vibrations, if you get one of those things that you jab in the dirt and it makes that vibration, it'll keep those little moles and things from digging around in the dirt.
that's what I'm probably gonna try because that's I have a cheap radio from like the way back in the day that I'm not using anyway. So I'll
Right,
put it out there, cover it with like a bag so it doesn't get the moisture damage, and just
right,
leave it out there playing on a low volume and see what happens. But I've been meaning to do that, but sometimes it's just so cold out. It's cold over here, so it's like, do I want to go outside and be
right.
fumbling around with But yeah, I want to ask you because I had the seeds. Can the seeds harbor eggs?
No, it's
So weird.
totally it's totally in the soil if you're using soil,
Hmm.
but if you're using hydroponics, then it's in the air, and there's nothing that you can do about bugs, unfortunately, because that's what they are. They're bugs, and that's what they do. They be a pest.
So they were in the air.
Yes, they are in the air. You actually have bugs that live on your body.
God, Lord have mercy. Now you make me.
Yes,
Now
it
you make me
don't
feel
start me
disgusting.
because
Now
yeah,
you make
I
me feel
get them
disgusting,
gone.
G Mama. Now I feel disgusting.
It,
When you feel ick when you want to go bathe
it is.
again.
It
I just
really,
bathe
it truly is. But
because I
that's
didn't have
just
no
a fact.
aphids.
That's just a fact
But
of life. Aphids
but
stick to your clothes, they stick to your hair, they stick to your body. So aphids can come from anywhere. They travel through the air. That's how mites travel through the air. They don't crawl, they don't just appear. They have a mode of travel, whether they're brought in by ants, which I've been seeing a lot of, and the mites being brought in by the ants, but they travel alone and then what am I trying to say? They
okay.
mate. Yep, they mate and make more. This is why you have to start. This is what's called IPM, which is pest management. You have to do what you have to do if you want to eat.
You know what I just remembered though? I do remember. Well, it wasn't. I had the sorrel plants at the front entrance, several of them, and I was trying to keep them, and I just couldn't. Like, there was aphids, and then there was white flies, and there
Yep,
were spider mites, and there was
and
potato
soap
bugs,
and
and
water in a water bottle. Shake that joker up so you get that, and you spray them plants, and they won't bother it.
but what
But
I
you
did
can't
was I
use
threw
the
the plants
same
outside.
thing,
I gave up.
right?
But
And
the
what you
bugs could
can't
still have been
do,
in the house, even though I cleaned up the area. The bugs could have been hiding somewhere,
yes, and
and
they
now they
will
see
hide.
cabbage.
Bugs
Okay.
are smart. They will hide and then reappear. This is why you have to keep doing the treatment. Treatment is non-stop. If you stop your treatment, more will appear because it's giving them time to build
To
up their
reproduce. Yeah,
colony.
the damn colony okay. So
Right. And
I think that you're right. Like they were already here because of the sorrel.
right.
Even though I
Yeah.
cleaned up the area, one little crevice could have been, missed,
Yeah. You
and they
can use
still.
bleach, ammonia, whatever you want to use, whatever you clean with, lemon, vinegar, it don't matter. It's a deterrent is what it is. It's not killing them per se, but it's deterring them away from the situation. And if you don't deter them, they will keep building up their colony and come back even in more force. This is why if you stop treating, and you should never stop treating. Oh Lord, we done had
A
uh
power glitch.
yes, no, it just went out. It does that
Uh-oh.
from time to time. But yeah, let me turn my camera off for this part.
No problem.
But yeah, you can't stop treating once you start treating, because once you stop, that's giving them a chance to build up. That's giving those eggs a chance to hatch. And if you don't want that to happen, you have to treat, and you have to change your treatment. If you're using neem oil, you can't use neem oil all the time. Neem oil has a breaking point where it breaks down and it stops working. That's why you need to switch.
So I need a switch because right now I use neem oil, I use soap and water, I tried vinegar because Planter said the vinegar, and I
Right.
have the insecticidal soap from the store, the 3-in-1 whatever Safer's brand,
Right.
and then
And
I
what you
have uh I I think did you say orange oil? Was it you who said orange
Yes,
oil?
all of that works, but what you can't do is use it all at the same
Same
time.
time.
You want to take and use one for a couple of days. If you see something going on and you want to kill it instantly, then you do another treatment with something else. Like
Mhm.
if you're doing treating with neem oil and you don't see the effects that you want, then you switch to the soap and water insecticide. Once that soap and water insecticide starts knocking them out, then you can switch to the orange oil.
Okay, I don't have orange oil. I
Use
have
milk. Do you drink milk?
I don't, but I can get some
Yes,
easily. I
milk
don't drink
works
milk anymore.
very
Yeah.
well, and it don't have to be refrigerated, and don't put it on there cold. You leave it out just like you leave your water out if you use it from the tap, and you can spray your leaves and everything. But you have to use filtered water. You cannot use tap water on plants because it makes them suffer.
I've been using the spring water or distilled water ever since I
Yeah,
think you told me that because and I have seen an improvement.
right.
But and I wonder, do you the other unit that I have that does not have an air pump in it, do you find that they perform okay, like the cracky method, or do you find the one with a pump is better for your
I have
hydroponic?
always used a pump in my hydroponics, and cracky is new to me, so I have not used the cracky system, but
Mhm.
I've heard about it. But to me, the cracky is a set it and forget it. You don't change the water, and it just sits in the solution and feeds off of what it's going to feed off. But with the air stone using the pump, it filters the air and the water, which gives the roots air. So it just makes more sense to me to do it like that.
That okay. I know Renaissance, and Renaissance, if you're still here, she had a problem with the same one that I had. She mentioned that once she covered up the stuff with foil, she had less algae. I want to know if she
Right,
still has that same story. Like, is it still okay, or has she
right.
found that she has to change the water? Because I'm on the verge now of maybe it's time to change the water. Because, and you know
Yes,
what I did too? Tell me if this was a good idea. I made up my own solution. I put mosquito bits in the water to try to kill the gnats that may have been in the sponges because I was
you,
seeing gnats.
you can do that and it will
Okay,
work, and you
good.
don't need that many. But I'm going to tell you, with these hydroponic units, they have to be cleaned. If they are not clean, then they're no good because it's going to set up all kind of, your plants are going to be dying and you can't figure out what's going on. Like I would say every 3 to 6 months. You can't go a whole year of growing in a hydroponic unit and think nothing's going to happen because everything builds up over time. And if you got water pumps and all that in there, all that needs to be cleaned too because there is algae that builds in the crevices and that's how it grows.
So when you clean it out, because this is my first year, and then D Macro mentioned about the aphids, which was so disgusting.
Right.
That literally they give birth to aphids. They're born. They don't lay eggs. They're born actually like ready to go.
Right. And they
And
could
then
already be in the soil. Everything has something living in it, especially soil. If there's nothing living in your soil, nothing is going to grow because
yeah,
it's
because it's
sterile.
dead. Exactly. So you do want things in it, but don't
Right.
expect to bring that into your house and say,
Right.
"Why am I getting all these bugs?" Because they don't belong in your
Right.
house.
Yes. You
They
have
don't
to have
belong.
some type of control, especially if you're bringing them in the house. And I
Correct.
have had a bunch of infestation and could not believe the amount of bugs that I saw. But once I got it under control, I don't see them like that no more.
And then people think, "Oh, you're nasty." No,
Right,
you're
but
not
it has nothing
nasty.
to
Your
do
house is
with
not.
that. It
Yeah, like
has
your house.
nothing to do with that.
No, but they
Bugs
say, "Oh,
are
like
a part of life,
the
period.
person them look at it and say, you keep your house. You must keep your house nasty if you have all those bugs." And it's not because I'm not. My house is
Right,
clean, but it's like, damn, like this is getting
that
out of
part.
hand.
Because I'm gonna tell y'all a secret about bugs. I never learned about a bed bug all my life until I moved to Ohio.
Hmm.
Said a bed bug. I thought that was a fairy tale. Sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite,
That's what I
baby.
thought. Until my mom said, "Oh
Uh-uh.
no, they eat your flesh. They'll
No,
eat
yes,
off
they
your skin."
do. They feed off your blood. I'm like, oh
Yep.
my God, what the? So yeah, that was one bug that I was like, oh no, this don't make no sense.
And I had to learn because when you travel a lot, it's like when you come home, my suitcases don't come in my house. I unpack outside
My
because
water is
I gotta
3 weeks.
shake out everything in that suitcase. I
Oh,
gotta
no pumps. So
because you
when
bring
should
in
I
the
change the
bugs into your
water?
house from the hotels. Okay, my water is 3 weeks old and no pump. So when should I change the water? I'm preparing to change it now. So do I wait?
Nope, you go ahead and change it now.
Is your water at any by any chance murky or like
Yeah, it
is it
probably
looking
is.
bad? Because I want to know because for mine too. So when you
And
change
that's
the
a
water, G Mama, because I have the
yeah,
ones with the pumps.
right.
Where do you put your plants? You just put them somewhere to chill out while you're
Yeah, I
cleaning the
just set
tank?
them in. Yep, I just set them in a container, or I set them on top because those little pod things fit. Mine fit on top of the jar, so I can just set it up there, or I put it inside of a basket until I get done.
Okay, and then you clean everything out with what? Vinegar and water, or what are you using to clean?
I use hydrogen peroxide only.
Only. And it's diluted?
Yes,
And then you wipe everything out with, I guess, a paper towel or whatever that clean all the
yeah,
crevices. You clean the
yes.
pump, and then
You
you
need
just
to get a toothbrush is specifically for cleaning because that gets inside of the crevices that you can't get.
okay. And then you put again distilled water. You put your nutrients back in, and then you
Yeah.
put the stuff back in the unit.
Right. And it
Okay.
sounds like my Renaissance grandma is using that crack key when you
She
just
is.
put plants. Yeah, she don't have to change her water or anything. From what I understand, the only thing you have to do is top up the water. And if the plant starts to do a little yellowing, then you know to feed it because it's already in water, so it's lacking nutrients.
Nutrients. Okay. Okay. And what do you I think you mentioned something that you added, like when you add your nutrients and you see that it's yellowing, you're not adding more of the nutrients from the brand. You're adding your own little natural stuff.
Right. I use my compost tea.
Okay, because that's not gonna hurt it. That's just gonna balance everything
Right.
out.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna scroll back up 1 second. So she said Renaissance mentioned that it has a film but no algae. Okay, so the water is because she covered the pods with foil
Yeah.
this time and all the
Yeah,
holes
so
to keep
that's
them away.
fine. Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to worry about that because there is going to be a natural film on there from the roots.
Yeah, I find there's a film, yeah, yellowing film, and so I'm glad to know that my experiment with the mosquito bits was a good idea.
And
So I'm
she
like,
can
you know
take
what?
and use some hydrogen peroxide if she's really worried. You can actually drop a couple of drops of hydrogen peroxide in that water and it'll kill anything for 24 hours. It'll dissipate after 24 hours.
And then that will keep your plants from like
Catching that
whatever.
algae.
Yeah,
Yep.
that okay. Down in Alabama, the house was spotless, but the water bugs would come in through the garbage when we drove in. Oh, sorry, through the garage. A lot of what am I reading? Through
Yeah,
the
bugs
garage
don't
when we
get
drove.
in, and a lot of bugs travel upon other bugs.
This is like a yeah. So yeah. So CC's thinking that this is a lot of work. I guess she's talking about the hydroponics.
Oh,
Oh, absolutely.
everything is a lot of work. I
Mm,
started out with hydroponics and deep water culture, and I went into soil because the deep water, when you're doing hydroponics, it requires a lot of cleaning and a lot of testing. You can't
mhm.
just use any kind of water when you use hydroponic. You got to make sure the pH is right. And if you don't know what that is, you don't need to be doing hydroponics. But
Well, I have a
yeah,
pH reader that I haven't set
yeah,
up yet. I just been using
and
distilled
water
water
has
because
to
I'm
be
lazy.
within the range that it's supposed to
Correct.
be. Then you have to keep cleaning in order for your plants to thrive. If something goes wrong in a hydroponic unit, everything is dead before you even blink your eye.
Yeah. And I don't think in my opinion, I don't think it's a lot of work. I think there's a lot of a learning curve. But
Yes,
once
a
you know what you're
big
supposed to
learning
be doing,
curve.
CC,
Right.
I foresee it to be very easy because the units
Because
that I
growing
have,
in soil is a lot of work also. It's just a matter of what you want willing to do for your
correct,
plant to live.
correct. And if you're growing inside the house, soil, I don't care what people be saying, soil is not an option. Do that in the garage or do that in another room, but don't bring that into your actual living
Right.
quarters
Well, I've
because
had
them the bugs
soil.
have no respect.
Look, This is how I learned. Okay, this is why there's a pest management treatment, because I've had soil indoors ever since I've been growing since 2018. I
Mm.
even have a vermicompost, a vermi hut in my living room. So I done seen a lot of things, but my point is you have to learn how to control your environment. Just like a tree. If you
Mm-hmm.
let that tree continue to grow up with no training, it's going to grow out of control. But if you train that tree the way that you want it to grow, it's going to stay within that limit. But if you don't train it, just like cleaning, if you don't clean it, it's going to grow out of control.
And this is the whole point. This is for people like I know you and I both live in a cold climate. So this
Right,
is and Renaissance as well. That's why we're speaking about hydroponic. You're talking to people who want to grow basically 12 months a year. And
right.
unless you're
And
going to
it's
move and
possible.
relocate to Florida,
Right,
you have to do what you have to do
right,
in the climate that you're in. If you got
right,
CCs in Texas, so I think you can grow pretty much year round, depending on where you are. But you don't have to worry about this stuff. But
right.
with the
But
environmental
bugs are not
pollution,
seasonal either, because there are
yeah,
bugs in the wintertime just like there are during the summer months. They're just different type of pests.
mm-hmm. And you'll figure them out when they start coming to your house. That's how I know
Right,
what's that?
right.
Who are you? Did you pay rent this week? Like what? And then we had a warm front last week, like almost like spring like weather, and all these bugs that woke up from their sleep.
Yes.
And I said,
And that's
"Oh,
what they
they
do. They
never left.
hibernate.
They never left. They
Right.
found a
They
crevice
hibernate.
in the front of my house on the like underneath the siding, like this house siding. They're under there, living their best
Then
life,
and they
sleeping."
go get their friends and bring more
And
different
the
friends to the
girlfriends and their
party.
side chicks and their concubines, and everybody's all there happy, one big happy family. And once the spring weather hits, you're going to be wondering why all this stuff is going on. They
Right.
never left. They just went to sleep
Right.
waiting. So it is work. As you said, everything is work,
Right.
but you have to do what you need to do for your particular climate. Now, that being said, some of you who are in the warm climate are going to have to learn how to either do hydroponics or slash indoor gardening. And when I say indoor, I mean greenhouse gardening, high tunnel, whatever, because with all the pollution that's moving from all over the place, you're going to have a protected space to grow your food. And it's
Right.
becoming more and more serious as time progresses, that just having an open air garden like our ancestors did may not be the best option for the future. You're going to have to protect it from the rain and catch your rainwater and maybe filter it before you put it in that
Right.
greenhouse.
And
And
I just went through some crap catching rainwater. This is why I'm looking for a proper rain catchment. But my water cans and my garbage cans that I was collecting my rainwater in froze and busted. So I got to start all over.
that's exactly the problem that we have here. And that's why every fall, by I guess I would say Canadian Thanksgiving, October, or maybe US Thanksgiving, November, we pour all the water and it's gone. We had to pour it all out
Right.
in the lawn or in the garden. And because those barrels will crack. And one of them did
Yeah.
crack because they forgot to empty one of them.
I have
And one of my
learned my
buckets
lesson
cracked
for
as well.
sure.
Yeah. And all you see is like the bucket literally is like in 4 pieces and then it's big blob of ice.
Right, right. That's what I saw. I was like, what is this crack and why is the water froze just sitting on top? And then
Yeah.
I look at the bottom and the whole bottom is busted out. I
Yeah.
said, oh my goodness, this
And a
is
five
sad.
gallon bucket used to be like say $2.99 or three something. Now a 5 gallon bucket, just the bucket, not even the lid, the bucket's about $6. And then
Right.
the
I
lid's
done
about
been some places and they like 23. I'm like, wait a
I
minute.
paid
What
14
a
bucks for one and I only bought it because I felt so ashamed to put it back. So I'm like, let me just buy the thing and gone because I don't want to sit, 'cause I bought it for the chickens and I'm like, damn, let
Right.
me just buy that damn bucket because now I look like I'm cheap. So I was like, geez, who $14 for one stinking bucket? What's it made of? Gold? Gold plated bucket? Yeah. for one 5-gallon bucket, and you're thinking, so that's why it's like people say, who cares? It's a bucket, buy another one. No, like it's that expensive. So I lost
Right.
one bucket, and then the ice is the east trough that's affecting the rain, all kind of problems with ice. So you have to empty your bucket. There's a whole fall cleanup process that I did not
Yeah.
do properly this year because I was just juggling too much, which is back to my point. How much are each of you going to be doing in your garden? Are you scaling back in any form based on all the events that are happening, and how do you want to use your energy in the garden this year?
Right. I'm actually picking up my pace and growing more than I ever grew before.
Are you growing more of the same stuff, or are you growing unique varieties?
I'm growing more of the same stuff because this is what I eat. Unique varieties, I do those when I have time. Those are like experiments for me.
So that's what I'm thinking of doing. Like if I like a certain tomato, I'll just grow
Yep.
double of the same tomato
Yep.
that I know that I like, and that I'm gonna like steam can and make sauce or something. That
Yep.
I'm not growing 50 million things.
Right.
Some things I grew last year did not bulb. I had
Yeah.
no radishes, no rutabagas. I had no turnips. They were just like
Yeah.
fingerlings.
Mine didn't stop for some reason because I was getting them back to back. I was sowing them at least every 30 days and getting a harvest. And now it's like I'm not getting anything. So I got to figure this out.
I think my soil needs to be addressed. So I'm going to try again this year the root crops. I have no problem with beets, but
Right.
the radishes and stuff, something was missing. And I did start
Yeah.
fertilizing late with the I don't have 511, but it's the same thing. It's fish emulsion.
Beets
And
require more phosphorus than nitrogen. So you need like more bone meal, probably I can't even think of what it's called right now.
let me
And
look
it's
at
on
my
the tip of
phone
my
while you're
tongue.
talking. Phosphorus. Hold on.
Yes.
Let me find if there's a natural form of phosphorus, because natural, hold on, sources, my goodness, some of these words are such, like, how do I spell that again? Okay,
P
so
H P H
no, I
O.
got it. I'm
Oh,
like, damn, you get to a certain age, it's like, how do I spell some word? What? So naturally occurring phosphorus enriches foods are dairy, red meat, poultry, seafood, legumes, and nuts.
right. So
And I
things that are
think
natural for the soil would probably be banana peels, cucumber peels, eggshells,
so.
um,
So yeah. So it says
bone meal.
so for those who don't want to use bone meal, because I'm probably not gonna buy no
Oh
bone meal.
yeah. So
So
cucumber peels, banana
cucumber peels.
peels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that I did do some banana peel water. So here's another question, since I have you on the panel. Um, I soaked some banana peels. I had some organic bananas. I put them in a bucket in the house, soaked them out for like maybe 24 to 48 hours. And then I found there was a scum on top of the water, like even like mold spores,
Like what were you soaking?
the banana peels.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
So, because I usually do it outside in the summertime. So I
Was
skimmed
it
off.
open or was it
It was
closed?
open, open.
Yeah, you have to close it. You have to cap it off
Okay,
because
I
when
was
you're
using a
leaving
big
it
old bowl,
open,
so I
yeah,
didn't have the lid for that bowl. So so I'll know to cap it off. So I had it open. So I'm like, shoot, I hope it's not poisoning the air. So I skimmed off the
yeah,
skin.
when you leave
The
it open to air, those are different kind of microbes than if you cap it off and let it ferment on its own.
Okay, so I strained it off into the 1 gallon jugs, and then I diluted it, and I'm using it in the garage to water those plants.
Yeah, it's still
That's
good.
okay. Okay.
Yep, it's still good.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I'm like, well, I'm going to use it because outside there was flies and wasps in the bucket, and they all kind of dead bodies because I guess they like the smell, and they get high and they drop in there.
Right. Yep.
And so I left it, but I'm like, is that normal? Like the scum? Because I didn't really do it indoors before, but I'm like, I'm not using these peels. I'm not wasting these peels. But
Right.
I heard you
Right.
could
I
dry
wouldn't
the
waste them
peels and
either.
then mince them up. Have you done
I'm,
that before?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Have you ever dried the banana peels and then just mince them up into a powder?
Yeah, that works great too. That's probably the best way that I do it because I don't eat that many. So When I do eat bananas, I grind them up and I dry them, and then I grind them up and I use them for powder because for me the powder is goes a long ways
I
versus
think I
trying
think
to.
I think I might, so because I have a dehydrator and you can put them in the air fryer, you can put them in the oven.
Right.
I'm gonna probably bake them, dry them out,
Yeah,
make a
long as they
powder.
turn all the way brown or blackish looking,
Yeah.
yeah. You don't want them black, but you want them
Yeah.
really dry.
And then when I make the powder, would you recommend putting something in there like DE to keep it from getting,
You can use diatomaceous earth.
moldy? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's about the only thing that I can think of that would
Yeah, to
properly
keep it
mix with that.
from caking and to
Taking
keep it
up.
from getting moldy. Yeah.
Yeah.
D Moon said he paid 850 for a 5 gallon bucket at the blue store
Okay.
yesterday. So almost $10 for one 5 gallon
Right.
bucket.
And they used to only be like $3.
So when people start wanting their buckets back and monitoring their buckets,
Right.
before, you could keep it, you could have it. No, where's my bucket? So Badass is saying, do you have Ace Hardware out there? Maybe they're cheaper. Maybe Ace Hardware is
Oh, I
cheaper.
do. But they kind of farther out for me.
That's the
But
problem.
yeah,
Some of
we
these
do.
stores are and coffee grounds. Yes, I use coffee grounds. I
Right.
have a whole bucket in here that I put the I use the Keurig. So I
Okay.
use the compostable pods that don't have all the plastic around it. And
Right.
I just cut out the bottom and let the powder go in the container. Or I use the ones that you do yourself. You have the paper filter and you put your own loose coffee in.
Right.
And then I can
And
just take.
coffee grounds take about as long to work as eggshells. If you didn't know, it's not like an instant
Oh,
thing.
it's not?
No. It takes a
Okay.
long time for coffee grounds to break down.
So I guess, well, and I get free coffee sometimes from people, the grounds from other, but I find, I guess it's also the smell turns off some animals. They don't like coffee,
Yeah,
I
it's a
heard.
good pest deterrent.
Yeah. So you take, whatever you can get and use it to your best.
Right.
Hey, growing out the box and juicing with Jay. So that's what I'm doing. People are looking for cheaper ways to garden.
Right.
Um,
The
Phoebe's
cheapest
saying,
way to
hurry up.
garden is to feed your plants back to your plants and stop trying to go to the store and run and get all these miracle fast, quick, and hurry in a hurry things because it's not that serious, especially when it comes to gardening.
Well, what I learned even after like listening to Planter and stuff and other people is what you're doing is you're giving your plants a quick boost and you're
Right.
fooling yourself into thinking that your
Right.
soil is healthy. And then when you stop using these products,
Right.
your plants are almost worse than before because there's nothing in the soil.
Right. It has to become a habit, just like chop and drop. I don't just chop and drop. I chop, chop, chop and drop because I know surface area is everything. And the more you break it down, the faster it breaks down.
And that's what my dad was doing, but he never really said. He just says we call it mince it up smaller. You're like mince them up
Right.
small, small.
Yeah,
And you're like,
right.
and I'm the kind of person be like, chop me not time for that.
That part.
Same thing. And it's like, no, it's not the same thing. He's like, mince
Right.
them up small. And he's like sitting there cutting the banana peel and mincing them up like ground beef. I'm like, who has
Yep.
time for that? But
Because you
he's
want to
right.
break it down. Yep. It helps with the breakdown of it.
And you're right, more surface area.
Right.
So Fifi's saying, hurry up and get the cluck clucks. All you need is that and natural manure with some leaves. Well, they're coming. Don't
Right.
worry, they'll be here soon. But yeah, but those who can't get cluck clucks, banana peels, even my cleanup from the fall I didn't do, like my hostas and
Right.
the irises, all that mulch, I minced them down and put them in the beds. The
Right.
hostas, the daylilies, I put the irises, all the tomato plants, I chopped them up, put them back in the beds. I
Right.
now leave the roots for my beans because I heard, who was it? Was it, if it was not growing out the box, it was somebody else who mentioned leaving the roots of the beans in the soil because that will put the nitrogen back in.
Yeah,
That it took out.
actually any plant roots that you leave in the soil will break down and help the soil. So it's not just
Well,
specifically.
I used to pull everything up.
Oh no, you don't want
I
to do that.
always pulled it up, shook off the dirt,
No,
and fling them in the compost.
But that soil helped the compost too, so you wasn't wrong either way it goes.
And now I'm like, oh, leave the roots, because I'm thinking, when I wanted to plant in the spring, I don't want to have to be, but now I realize, will
Right.
baking the banana peels remove any of the nutritional value found in them?
Yes, you don't bake them, you
Well,
dry them. There's a difference.
dry them. I don't mean cook them
Right.
on 350 like you're baking a chicken, but you maybe put
Right.
them on a 200 low and slow, and dry them out, dehydrate them.
Right.
I did say the word baking, the term baking, but no, you're not gonna cook it like you're baking a chicken. You're gonna have to do low and slow, and a
Yeah,
slow
very slow. You don't
drying.
want them to go because if they get black, that's when it's no good. You want it to
Yeah,
be still brown or
yeah,
brownish.
yeah,
If anything, even if you're drying herbs, if your herbs change a whole different color, they're no good. They're too dry and there are no nutrients in there. It has to remain green or
yeah.
greenish.
And those of you who are of a certain ethnic group and you guys eat green banana, 'cause I know Jamaicans, we eat a lot of boiled green banana. And then most times the water, we would throw it away. So I did tell people, like the one lady I buy food from, I told her to keep the water, let it cool, and water
Right.
her plants in the garden and even in the
Yep.
house with that. And
Yep.
she noticed right away, because she was just throwing that water away, the boiled
Right.
banana, the boiled yam. Those of
But
you
they
who are,
all should be mixed down. I don't think you should pour like
no,
if
no, I
you
told her to
do
dilute it, but
straight.
I told her,
Yeah.
if you're using it out in the garden,
Right.
the microbes know what to do with it.
Right. Right.
So I'll just throw it, throw it in your beds, throw it whatever, and then
Right.
bury the skins, the green banana peel skins, and or compost them. But in your
Right.
house, I told her, yeah, you have to dilute it because you don't have the same microbes in the soil. But I said, nature kind of knows what to do, even if you don't know what you're doing and you make the wrong choice.
Right.
The
Right.
worms will fix it. The bugs will like they'll make it work.
Right.
I'm
Because
not too worried about
right. When I first
that.
started
But
growing
she's
outside, I had a whole problem with that, but I learned to work with it by growing flowers and different things for different bugs because they just gonna finish each other off. Ain't no need of me out there constantly spraying and doing all it is. It's the inside that I'm more concerned about than the outside.
exactly. You have it exactly right. Like growing in a whether in your house or a greenhouse
Right.
requires probably more concrete skills with pest management, because those
Right.
pests can thrive 12 months a year, unlike if you have a
Right.
winter freeze where they have to kind of hide. You're in the greenhouse and they're just there living their best life
Right.
and taking a siesta and carrying on. So you have to kind of know right away, okay, I'm going to have more pests, I'm going to have
Right.
more infest. How am I going to deal with that? Because people
Right.
get upset, like, "Oh my God, this is horrible. Why did she tell me to do this?" Yeah, but you have to understand, if you're giving them a utopian experience in a lovely
Right.
temperature controlled environment.
And look, I wanted to wear a whole suit before I entered the greenhouse and then came back into the house. I was even looking at them painter suits, the all over painter suits that you put on to cover up. I was thinking about all of that. Like, I don't want to bring this junk in the house and blah, blah, blah. But it happens. It's unavoidable, especially no matter where you are, there are bugs.
Yeah. TC's just mentioning, and Jay mentioned going to private sellers for buckets. Yes, you can
Oh,
do that.
yeah.
And grocery stores that have I do have a restaurant I go to. I haven't been there in a while. I should probably ask them, because last time
I
I asked them,
just
they go,
started
"Oh,
looking online for that
yeah,
stuff too.
I'm gonna
And I'm
call her and
thinking about
remind
going
her."
back to Facebook because that marketplace got them for like $2 and $5 for the 50-gallon what you
Drums?
call them, the 50-gallon drums.
Barrels? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I need. I need some of those. So I'm
and
gonna
you can
check
get
them
them
out,
dirt cheap
because
up there.
I think most of them have kind of held them for the winter, like they've been piling them up, and now they want
Right,
to kind of get rid of them. And then
right,
I've never been to Starbucks for coffee grounds. I know you guys have been doing it. I've never asked because I don't really shop there. They're
right,
so expensive. But I'm gonna go, I'll drive by one and ask them if they do that. Or
right,
I'll ask my friend to ask, because she's always eating from there. So I'll ask her to ask so that she can get me the inside track, and then I'll go over and get them. Okay. And let me just see here. Thrift stores for plastic totes. I haven't been to a thrift store in a minute, but I did go last night to drop off some stuff I'm getting rid of. but I
Right.
didn't go inside. But all those roly polies make my skin crawl. But do you know? I think they're good for the garden. Roly polies, right?
No,
The potato
roly
bugs.
polies will eat your roots. Don't let them fool you. They say they good for the store. I don't know who the, cause I
Oh,
done had roly polies eat through a fabric pot of mine to get to my roots. Cause I was like, why? How is they getting
I
into the
thought it was a
soil?
mouse. It was the roly
No,
polies
yes,
through the
they
hole.
will eat through those fabric pots in a heartbeat.
That's why
I
I have
done
all these
had,
brand new
I
pots
done
with
had,
holes. I'm like, what the hell's going on
yeah.
over here?
This why I moved the plastic in the front because they terrorize those fabric pots.
I did. You see? Okay, I'm gonna have to relocate those because I bought a whole bunch of on Amazon, made a big old purchase with these big old bags, small and medium and large, and I put
Right.
them out to have aeration and whatever. And I thought
Yeah.
the squirrels and thing were chewing through my bags. Then I'm watering
Nope.
and the dirt just flying right out.
Yep. It's those roly polies.
And then they ate
So,
up and they moved into my sorrel. That's why I had to go put the pots outside. So they must have been killing my sorrel. My poor sorrel was struggling to stay alive.
hey, I'm gonna tell y'all the secret about them bugs in the soil. What I use is wheat flour. Okay. Nothing can process that. If they're crawling around in there, they will die. But you can use any kind of flour, but all purpose flour. You can even sprinkle that on your leaves and it'll get rid of the caterpillars and all that other stuff too.
So you use that like diatomaceous earth, you just sprinkle it all over the stems and the
Yes,
leaf?
ma'am. But
Whole wheat
the
flour or
secret, yeah, and the secret to using any kind of flour substance like diatomaceous earth or flour, if you can see it, you're using too much. You should not be able to see where you sprinkle your diatomaceous earth, your flour, or any powdered subject, a substance because of the fact a bug will not crawl through it.
okay. I'm gonna have to because everybody always has some stale flour that they're not using. Like
Right.
so you must can use this instead of buying. And then what I realized for those of you
And
who
the
are
best that works is the expired flour. You don't want to go to the store and buy no fresh flour because it's only going to do the surface area. But if you let that flour get old and you use that old flour, I don't know what it is. I'm not a scientist. I just know what I know from growing plants. But yeah, the older the flour is, the better it works.
well, I got me some flour from 2020 sitting here looking at me from someone gave me a bag of whole wheat flour
Yep.
from before
It don't
COVID,
have to be whole wheat. It can be long as it's not all purpose. I
all
mean,
purpose,
not self rising. My
self right.
fault.
Okay, self rise.
Long as
Yeah,
it's not self rising, any
yeah.
type of flour will work.
Well, this I'm gonna get rid of this because this is just sitting here. 'Cause
Right.
I
I
don't
just
use that
use
much
wheat
flour.
flour because this is what I use. I cook with it, and that's what I use.
Make your
So
dumplings with it, your bread.
right. Yep.
So growing up the box is saying he uses coffee grounds as a hot compost rather than directly in the garden because it needs carbon to break down faster.
Right.
I
Right.
throw it. I was throwing it in my fabric pots, but now I just put it in the compost. But I think I'm gonna put mine. I'm gonna put the coffee grounds in the. I heard it's good for the chicken coop. I'll put it in there. It keeps
Yeah.
the odors down
Diatomaceous
and
earth
stuff.
is good for chickens, and I don't even have none.
Sorry, what's good for chickens?
Diatomaceous earth.
Oh yeah, and that's what I was gonna lead into. Some of us are buying stuff from the garden centers or whatever you're buying from,
Right.
and it's cheaper to buy a lot of the stuff from the feed stores or the livestock stores.
Yeah.
I can get a 25-pound bag of DE for $26
Right.
Canadian. And if I go to like the garden center and buy like a small, I don't know, I'm trying to show
One
a
pound
small
bag,
little shaker
for a
bottle of
pound. Right.
it's like 15, 13 to $15.
Right.
Now, do
Even
you need 25 bags?
no.
Sorry, not 25, 25 pounds?
Right.
Probably not. But if you can split it with somebody that also gardens, then
Right.
great. Or if you have livestock or you have even a dog where because some people sprinkle it on their dog for like bug control instead of
Food
using the
grade
chemicals.
diatomaceous earth, mind you.
They use some people use different things. They don't use the vet stuff for their pets. They use more organic natural stuff, or they
Right.
on their cat, whatever, they put it on. they mix their food with it because it's good for a human cleanse to clean
Right.
out your
I've
inside.
seen people take it straight in water. Like,
Yep,
well,
and
you
they just
got a
drink
good
it
tummy
down,
off.
and they use the DE to keep their food from getting, weevils and bugs. So they mix a bit
Right.
for non, so you can use it for
Yeah.
other things. So if you are finding that you're using diatomaceous earth and a bag maybe lasts you a year and a half,
Yeah, it
get
lasts a
you a
long
5-gallon
time.
bucket
That's why I
and
said when you use those spreaders and you be sprinkling it and all of that, if you can see it, you're using too much of it because you should not be able to see it because that's how a bug feels. If a bug has to crawl through
if you see
something
it,
yeah, they could, if they see it, they're gonna turn away.
if I don't see it, I think it's not done right. So I sprinkle, and I'm icing a cake, I'm sprinkling it, dusting. You just see my
That's
thing
a
right now.
lot.
It's
I
the prompts.
understand. I totally understand, but that's a lot. And you just think when you see those sprinkles, you could have did that like 5, 10, 11 times.
Maybe that's why I'm going through so much of it. Because I'm just shaking and baking. I'm sprinkling it.
Yeah.
I'm powdering it like baby powder.
Oh,
I'm
I
powdering
went
the
through
place.
it, baby. Let me tell you, I done had so much caked up. I had to change all my fans because the diatomaceous earth was stopping the fans from circulating. All my filters was getting plugged up. I said, "Oh my God, this cannot be real," but it was. But it was because of the diatomaceous earth that I kept. And if the fine particles they float through the air,
Wow, that's
that's
exactly
why
what
it was
happened. So I was like,
sticking to everything.
yeah. So I've been a bit too heavy handed. So I'm going to work on that. But if
Yeah.
you need to buy something and you're thinking, okay, I need to buy, it's so expensive, but you have other uses for that same item. Consider like Fifi has chicken, she got turkey, she got meat bird, she got dogs, and she may buy a 25-pound bag of DE. That's cheaper for her than to be buying that
Right.
little old bottle. Or she
Right.
could split, there's we all have different circumstances, but just consider maybe you're spending too much on stuff. Buy the
Right.
large bag, put it in a bucket in the garage, keep it dry, and that will last you for years. And
Right.
I'm going to be buying the 25-pound bag because I can split that with my garden and then the parents' garden. Give them
Right.
half the bag, I keep half the bag, and that can be used for a whole manner of stuff. And yes, you can do a cleanse like G Mama said. You put it in water, you stir it up, you drink that down, and that will clean out your digestive tract. Diatomaceous earth. You're not supposed to inhale it as a human.
Right.
That's dangerous for your lungs. So
Right. It's
make
a
sure you're getting
drying
your research.
agent. Right.
But to ingest it is safe for any livestock
Consumption.
and
Right.
any person. Yeah. Soilless mixes. Yeah, everyone's talking about soilless. I did see the comments because I'm done. But don't get it twisted. Coconut choir and all those stuff can have gnats up in there, hiding up in there. So I've been rinsing.
Yeah, right. It's
I
a difference between the soil that when you purchase. I understand what they're saying between the
mm,
soilless mixes. Soilless mixes should be sterile. There should be like no nutrition in a soilless mix. That's why it's a
yeah,
soilless mix
yeah.
because it would inhibit. Well, it wouldn't inhibit, but it wouldn't make the seedling germinate any faster. So, for as the soil mixes, there are different soil mixes. You just have to be careful and read the bags because you may see something that says potting soil. Then
Mm-hmm.
there's a potting mix. There's a raised garden bed mix. All these different mixes will mix you up. But you got to know what mix that you're looking for. And for me, growing in containers, I only grow in potting mix. I don't grow in soil because it's too heavy.
Okay. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot of nuance. Oh, somebody gave me something. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Somebody. Oh, okay. I think I had a super chat. I really didn't see it, so I apologize.
Oh,
Um, thank you, African Dreaming. I
yeah.
didn't pop up on my screen, so I don't even know when that came in here. Don't know when that came in here, but thank you very much. Appreciate it. So soilless. What got me concerned was that I found out that you could still have gnats with the peat pellets. So I made sure that I rinse them with very hot, well, not hot, but warmer water
Right,
with peroxide because
right,
you just don't know. And even though there was no gnats in the ones I did with hydroponics, because there
right,
was gnats in the ginger, they were trying to hop
Me
and land
myself
all over
and
the place.
personally, I use hydrogen peroxide on everything. I think that's the biggest
Yes,
amount of chemical cleaner that I use on everything.
and
From
I've come to that.
sterilization of just anything, I run to hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah, I've stocked up on that because I'm like, you know what, this is the truth. Okay, I see it there. This is the truth because that, and it's safe to use, and it's even safe to brush your teeth with it and clean your teeth. Like
Yes,
that's
yes.
again multi-purpose products
Multi-purpose,
that
yeah.
are safe to use. That's what we need to be using.
Right,
But you can still get gnats in the sponges, the hydroponic sponges and the peat pellets. So that's why I said, you know what, mosquito bits are good for barrels and
right.
it's safe for plants. I'm going to put it in my tank for my hydroponics, even though nobody told me to.
Right,
I'm
because it's
experimenting.
a water holding device, and that's what it does. It holds water for uh pests to breed.
So
Molasses. Yep, blackstrap molasses is what I use. And I just switched over to the powder blackstrap molasses because I feel it lasts longer. You don't have to
oh,
use
there's
as
powder.
much. Yes, there's also a horticultural one, but I don't know about the horticultural one, but I use the powder blackstrap molasses because it lasts longer and I can do more with it for me.
Okay, I never heard that, but powder. I think powder is always better because it does last longer.
Yeah.
You want things that's not going to go stale and that's not going to,
Right,
that you can
right. And it took me a
store.
while to learn that because, like I started out in hydroponics. So everything that I bought was in a bottle. I still got stuff from in a bottle that I was using from hydroponics. I still do use it just because I want to get rid of it, but I've totally converted over to using more earth or soil friendly products.
Thanks, Triple. We they're like we have to just modernize our gardening because times have changed, and I'm in agreement with the natural gardening. That's
Right,
don't get it twisted. I'm for the old fashioned. That's why I love watching Planter and watching people do the natural thing. So
right,
don't think I don't agree with that, but times are changing or we're being forced because of pollution, chemicals, and all this stuff.
right,
We got to find ways to keep growing our food, keep being self-sufficient in your
right.
house.
I was told I was doing too much using filtered water on my plants. I say, well, you do you, because I'm going to do me. If I don't drink no regular water, I ain't giving my plants no regular water. So I'm going to, yeah, do that.
What's regular, G Mama? Because what's in
I,
the water ain't regular.
right.
Let truth be told. Because the amount of bleach in the last since 2020, since the thing that came around, I smell nothing but bleach in the water over here.
Right. And
And
then
people
it's
said, I don't
different
smell nothing. I don't
colors.
smell
And
nothing.
then you can pour it in a glass and hold it up to the light. And what you see swimming in there, yeah, that's what you're drinking.
That's what you're
Know that.
drinking. And it's like the plant, and even our the family pets were getting sick.
Yeah.
And we didn't understand what's going on, and when we changed them to bottled water, that's and
Yep.
animals know because animals,
Yep.
you put the water down and then they sniff and they walk away from it. And they'll
Yep.
come back a couple of hours later and then they'll drink it because the chlorine's evaporated, but the water's
Right.
still not good for them. But unless you're observing, you're not getting the messages that they're telling you. Like
Right.
animals talk to you, but you're not
Right.
listening.
Look, so do plants.
Plants talk to you, but you're not listening. You're too busy thinking
Right.
that you know it all and I know this and I know you don't know nothing.
Right.
There's a whole colony of microorganisms existing,
Right.
smaller than the naked eye can even see, having
Right.
elections and voting and having shopping centers, and there's a whole collective of things happening in soil, in the
Yes.
air, in this that we have no clue about.
Right.
You don't know
It's
everything.
just the fact that it's not going to be instant. If you want instant, then you have to resort to chemicals. Because doing it the natural way is naturally going to be a process in order for you to see any results.
Correct. So we're just talking about gardening. I'm reshuffling what I'm doing for 2023 as a result of these last 2 weeks of incidences of terms of what happened, what's going on. Am I in fear? No, I'm not in fear, but I'm just like, you can't see what's happening and not think about
Right.
how it could affect your bottom dollar or the way you live your life. We
Right.
already know that all the fertilizers come from a particular part of the world. So many of us have already found natural ways to fertilize and or add nourishment or amendments, whatever you want to call it. We found other ways. And the food that you eat can be used as a compost, the leaves, the limbs. Last night we were talking about potash or biochar. Those are
Right.
all old. We can still do that. But some of
Right.
those things may be a bit more difficult if you're exclusively growing in your house. In a
Right.
greenhouse,
Let me
no
say something
problem.
about biochar real quick
Go
because
ahead.
I do use biochar because of the
Mhm.
fact I don't have woods and stuff that I can go forage for, stuff for my garden. But because I use biochar needs to be used properly. You can't just put biochar in your soil and think that it's going to work because it's not. It has to be processed and then it has to be activated and then you can use it in your soil.
And a lot of us don't know that. And
Right. You have to
and
know the
our
product that
ancestors
you're
knew it, but they didn't know how to
using.
verbalize it. Like they just know
Right.
from observe. They just know. And we're looking for like an explanation, and it's like, no, this is
Right.
how it
That's
is.
just like using fish fertilizer. Just because one person is using fish fertilizer, it might not work for you.
Or it will work and attract every raccoon, rodent,
Right.
and groundhog all around
That's
the
what I
community
mean. It might
up in
not
your
work for
yard.
you.
And I already have the problem with animals. You don't want to add fish from fried fish and stew peas. Are you mad?
Right.
But I use it, but I dilute it because you're attracting other animals. Because all
Right.
they know is that, I'm smelling food over there
Right.
in G Mama's garden. Then they're going and
Right.
looking and they don't find fish, but they find cabbages and other. So they start eating other stuff because it's right there in their
Right.
face.
And pets bring animals also.
So you need to, so don't say that somebody said, oh, it's something that didn't work. You have to know how to apply it to
Right.
your situation.
There you go.
Because if you're in a condo or an apartment and you spill the bottle of 511 on the floor, I don't think you're going to be too impressed. I don't pour that in my house. I go in outside in the garage and start measuring and spooning it in because if it ever spill,
Right.
and it did.
Right.
Oh my God. Lord. You can't wipe it off. You have to literally mop the floor with pine sol and fabuloso because that smell ain't going nowhere.
Ooh.
Then you gotta bleach up like it was a whole thing. I'm like, just for one
Right.
little spill. I said, NASA, outside. You mix that stuff in the garage months in advance so that you don't have to be fumbling in the house and spilling stuff in your indoor garden. No. You live and you learn. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't be in fear. Just adjust exactly to what because things are always
Right.
gonna shift. Yeah,
Right.
we have no control over it. So that's what we're talking about. Some of you are starting your spring gardens. I'm starting my spring garden. And I was literally probably gonna say I'm not gonna really do seeds. It depends. I might just do a lot more starts this year. Is
Right.
that sacrilege? No.
No.
If you're busy, you're busy. If you're trying to
Right.
work extra shifts or an extra job to make the money to buy your infrastructure and you have
Right.
to buy starts, then buy your starts. So
Right.
anybody who
'Cause
feels, oh, I gotta
just
do
because
everything
you
from
buy a
seed.
start, that don't mean it's gonna grow neither. So you're taking a 50-50 chance, be it seed or be it start.
Exactly. So sometimes people may feel that they're being judged because, oh, I didn't start from seed. I'm watching everybody in their videos and they're all doing seeds.
Yeah, anyway. I
Who
don't feel
cares?
no type of way about how anybody gardens because I know how to do what I gotta do in order to get what I gotta get.
Right. So if you got to buy starts because you busy and you don't have the time, you do what you got to do. That's the point.
Right.
You're in your own situation. Only you know what you have to deal with. You do what's best and what's going to make your life easier. Because nobody
Right.
wants to come home from work and then have to come home and do more work. Plus, you're going to feel upset when the plants don't make it or they die because you don't understand damping off. You don't understand overwatering. You don't understand all the
Right.
small things or that the type of water, and then you're getting upset because there's a lot of things to learn. So sometimes it's better to start off with,
Right on, grow in a
starts.
box.
He said you have to read the ingredients on your seed starters. Some peat pellets have low ammonia fertilizer. And he's
Mhm.
very knowledgeable too. Some of the things I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, I like
What?
his content.
What?
Growing out the box be
And then
telling
his
you
voice
stuff.
and growing out the box. Now he
Right
feels you
on.
like the radio, like those radio programs, those late night.
Right on. Yep.
I'm like, man, damn.
Make you listen even harder.
I'm telling you, like, now you're making the plants sound all sexy and all. What? Let's talk about root structure. You felt like, what? What's going on over here? No.
Oh, you was talking about the plant, bro?
Yo,
Okay.
I mix the 511 either in the sink exactly, or on the. You see, you know TLC because I'm not gonna spill it. I'm not gonna, and all of a sudden, splish, splish, splash.
Yeah, I do all my stuff outside, even though I have inside this and inside that. When it comes to that eggy and smelly smell, no, I have to go outside with it.
Renaissance said, "Well, this person put 511 in 40 indoor plants last winter. I got so many rolled eyes."
Well, they were trying to figure
right?
out what the smell was.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, what is that smell? Where is that? Where is coming from? Right?
You want to get rid of? I wanted to guess. Just pour some 511 in those house plants.
Right.
Coming over. But exactly, you don't know. You're just like, you just here trying to get your plants to grow, and all of a sudden it's like, damn, why's my house smell like fish?
Right.
Yeah. So you gotta modify it to work for your situation. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
And if 2023 you're seeing what's going on and you're making some alternate decisions about your outdoor garden, maybe you want to focus more on I don't know. I am focusing more on hydroponics.
Yeah, but there is a crossover product that I have found that I use in both my hydroponics and my soil that seems to correct the problems that be going on, and that's Super Thrive.
I think you mentioned that, and I did look it up, and it looked good. And I just look confirm it's organic, right? It's a natural.
Yeah, I could use that in both hydroponic and soil. That's why I'm like, sometimes when I have a problem and I can't figure it out, then I have to use something that can help me figure it out. And that's what I found helps me figure it out.
Those are the kind of tips people need because they don't want to be sitting here figuring, analyzing,
right?
And checking. Like if somebody can say,
a while.
This is safe for everything indoor, outdoor. It's not going to smell.
Right. Now that doesn't smell like that. And it don't even take a drop. Hear me now. A drop goes with almost a gallon, just about.
So I've had a literal eyedropper drop.
Yes, because I've had Super Thrive for years and I've had the same bottle for years. I'm sure it only got a shelf life of 2 or 3, so I might need to update. But the point I'm saying is, don't buy the biggest bottle. Buy the smallest bottle because it works by the drop.
Well, I don't care about no expiry date. I have things that should have thrown out. I still have aspirin and whatever from how much o'clock. I don't care. Never did. That's a suggested use by date.
Right.
With all those chemicals and preservatives, you think that's going to be expired on the actual expiry date?
Right. That's why I say I still got the same bottle I didn't have for years.
I got mustard in the fridge. I should have been mustarded out, and I still use it on my stuff. I ain't dead. It has vinegar in it. Like, really?
Right.
And these kids go, ew, that expired. Throw it out. You see, it costs money. You guys aren't Caribbean enough. I go, you guys lost the. No. That costs a good amount of money, and that's going to use till the buckle finish.
Right.
You drain out every last drop. So, yeah, anything with vinegar, salt, and certain preservatives, it's not really going to go bad. That's just a marketing so that they can't sue them if you get sick if you use it past the date. But really and truly, it's fine. So the smell
and plus, you should be able to taste something and tell if it don't taste like it's supposed to taste.
You can smell it. You can see the texture.
You don't want to whoop it all down and be like, was that any good?
I had coffee cream that expired like a week prior, and I was like, sniff it. It's fine. And I've had things that were not even at the expiry date. They're expiring next month. And then when you pour it, you can smell it smells funky.
Right.
Use your nose, use
That
your eyes
part,
and see,
as
okay,
they
this is
say, the nose knows.
that's it. The dates are like, sometimes the dates people think are expiry. It's not really
Right.
expiry. If it was sealed until the expiry date and then you just happen to now open it, now
Right.
there's a shelf life from when it's been open to when you finish using it. That's
Right.
different from, the ultimate expiry date. But I don't know. I
Yeah,
just
my son is worse than me when it comes to the dates on packages. Wait a minute, that's got like a month. It expired last month. I'm like, boy, there's still some. No, no, throw it away. I'm like, oh my god, come on now.
you throw yours away because I paid for
Right,
this. So this is gonna stay here till the last one is finished.
it expired last month, boy.
Yep.
I'm gonna eat this. Know that.
That's just some, marketing and stuff in terms of liability. But, you know, if we throw out everything at the expiry date, really,
Right. Now, if
really,
it was a year or so after, I question that. I'll probably throw that away.
I've had
But if
bread
it's
here.
within a couple
I'm
of
telling
months,
people I got
I'm
bread
pretty all
here
right.
and it still ain't green. I don't eat it, but I
Right,
just left it there to see how long it's gonna stay there, and the bread still ain't green.
right,
So what are we eating? Because that's not bread.
right,
Because the bread that I grew up, we used to have it on the counter, and you had to use it within 5 days. Otherwise, you see the green fuzz growing on the bread. Bread
right.
nowadays, you look at that bread and you can have it there for 6 months. The bread still is the same brand new bread. So
I am a bread lover. I
I
admit
love
it.
bread, but the bread that we get nowadays is not, because I remember we had to use the bread, and then the bread would have a smell. It starts to kind of go, it's gonna go
Right,
off, and it smells
right.
kind of high,
Yeah,
but it hasn't turned green yet. And then you're like, okay, I
right.
can have one
You
more
be
slice of
like,
toast before it goes really, really.
I'm still finna eat it though.
That's when you have to toast it with some extra butter just to kill the probiotics. And we eat the bread same way. But when you got the green fuzz, sometimes we cut off the fuzz and say, okay, still good. The rest of it's still good.
Right. Pick it off.
All
Pick
your
it off.
girls, listen,
Be all right.
Caribbean people, please. We've cut off green stuff, blue
Brush
stuff,
off that fuzz.
and we still here to talk about it. We're still here. But some of the food really and truly nowadays, I've just let it sit there to test it out. And it doesn't rotten. Not to change the topic. Would anyone have emails for this? Couldn't find it on the book page. He may have been hacked. I made a post on my I don't know.
Who?
Unless the weightlifting geek, unless African has if it's not on his community page, I don't know, Fifi. That's the
Mm,
first page I would look at.
I didn't
He
know
thinks
that.
he may have been hacked. That's
Oh
also
wow.
a problem in social media. I think
Right. If they done
Star's
filtered over
Instagram
here
got
to
hacked.
YouTube, it's gonna be a whole nother thing. It's already though. People out here pretending to be these big content creators talking about some text me or call me here on WhatsApp and all. No, I ain't doing that, bro.
I just said that about some milk right now. It had a date of the 12th, and my girl said it was good, but it wasn't for me. No, no, no. When was the 12th? That was
Yeah,
on
you can
Sunday.
tell by the
Like I said,
smell, that's for sure.
if it don't smell, it's fine.
Right.
But obviously, you have to use your common sense. If you're going to use something that's questionable, that's when you heat it up.
That part.
So that's when I would make a hot chocolate and heat up the milk thoroughly and let it,
Right.
bubble and get frothy, and then you add your flavorings to that. Like, there's a way you do things, and then you won't get
Yeah,
sick
he
because
killed everything.
you've killed the bacteria. So there's a way you do things. I'm not saying go drink the cold thing, because someone will
Right.
go, oh, you told me to drink it. No, I didn't tell you nothing. I told you what I do. I didn't tell
Right.
you to do nothing. Okay, you drive your own car, you pay your own bills, and you have
Just
your
like
own tax
using that
ID number.
flour. I didn't tell
You
you to
take
use
care
that
of you.
flour. I use flour. I didn't tell you to use that flour.
Don't bring me into in any argument. I got this message from him, and I was so confused, but I know it's not him. Okay, somebody probably hacked him, which is not.
Yeah.
This is
Your
this
intuition,
social media
sweetie.
thing.
Them intuitions is, yeah, that's what you go off of.
Okay, so they're gonna send him a message on Instagram. He may have been hacked.
Oh man.
He may have been hacked, and this is the problem. So, note to self: we all need to know each other, because
Right.
he could tell right away that's not him.
Right.
So make sure you don't assume any message from any of us is us. Sometimes people take your name, even the picture on your profile, and make a fake thing, and then they're going around.
Right.
Did y'all know that diarrhea is hereditary? It runs in your genes.
Badass. Literally.
So okay, hold on a second here. Renaissance grandma is saying that proves preservatives are in bread. Store-bought bread can last on the table for a week before turning green. You have to refrigerate homemade bread after 2 days. Yeah. Well, homemade bread don't last over
Right.
here. When I make bread in the bread machine, oh my god, people
Right.
yeah, that's gone. I.
I was too happy when I got me a bread machine. Like,
Oh,
yeah, boy, it's
I
over for
had to
y'all
pull that
now.
out the cupboard because I'm like dust it off and get that back because I'm like that was
Yeah.
the best bread.
Right.
But the store bought bread can last on the counter for more than a week. I'm talking about all 6 weeks. And never mind the bagels. The only time the bagels went green is when I bought a cheese
And
bagel and the
that's just
cheesy part
before
turned
it
green.
only get hard after a couple of weeks. It won't even start to turn. Then it got to go through
No.
stages.
Yeah. Okay. The weightlifting geek, African Dreaming, I think she's saying he may have gotten hacked because she got a message from him that doesn't make sense. Okay, somebody's mentioned it. Um, someone tried to scam. Yeah, it's everybody's channel. You guys gotta,
Yeah.
even that reminds me, Triple Threat, if she's still here, I think she'll notice on the video she did with the contest for Blue Eddie, everybody who put a comment under her video got a comment from her, but it wasn't her. It was her
Right.
photograph, it was her picture, and it said
And
a
that's sad.
WhatsApp number to contact her
Right.
at and
That's what I'm
whatever.
talking about. When they hit you with that WhatsApp, that's
The
what's up.
WhatsApp number to contact her. And this is after Triple's already responded to the messages
Right.
herself. There's
Right.
another reply. So obviously, like we can't go around
And
and
it's mostly on
delete
those.
every comment that's not us.
Right.
It's sometimes it's too many comments. You have to know if somebody's giving you a WhatsApp number to call
Right.
them, and then you call them and there's no video, you can't see their face.
That part.
Come on, guys, we gotta know. Like these people are everybody's channel that I'm on. I've gotten a reply from them. So one time I was I'm like, you know what? So I said to the person, I said, what did they say? Something about, oh, you can get this money or something they're offering me, and I have to do X, Y, and Z. So I said, how about we forget the X, Y, and Z part and you just give me the money?
That part.
No answer. And another person, I said, I pray hellfire to burn you up, you lying demon from the pits of hell. They just can't, they delete that quick, like, oh, click delete. They just came off. Then I said to another person, I hope your hair, all your hairs fall out of your skull, and then you have itchy skin. And I just talk some foolishness. And I sent it, and then no reply. No reply. Because sometimes I'm like, you know what? Let me just be irritating today. Let me just, whatever. And I just said a comment back.
Wait,
I don't
did
know
he
how you're
say
telling
what
me to
is a
call
bread
you.
machine? What that mean?
What's a bread machine? You don't know what a bread machine is? A bread maker? It's kind of like a.
Baby, I just learned that you can make a jam in a bread machine. So please believe that's on the list of to do.
Yep, you can make jam and you can make pizza dough. You
Yep.
can make
That's
like
why I wanted
cakes.
one so bad. I'm like, baby, I'm finna get me.
It's not
And
no.
then at the
I was
time when
on.
I wanted one, they all was sold out because of this crap that was going on. I was like, I can't find
Okay, he got a
one
crazy
nowhere.
message too. African got a crazy message. Okay, so um, Unbiased just forwarded to me. Okay, so they're dealing with that. Somebody hacked
Good.
his account or something and sending out some messages.
I'm glad this a solid community and everybody looking out for everybody because that's terrible.
You gotta pay attention. But a bread machine
Right.
is if you like bread and it's not very time consuming.
No, it's not.
You have to adjust how we do things because I used to make the bread in the evening. What I would do is I would put all the ingredients in the bread machine, and you can put it on a timer and tell it
Right.
what time to be finished. And at 5 in the morning, you would hear like a rustling of it mixing the dough.
Right.
And by the time you wake up, the bread is finished, and the house smells so good when it smells like hot bread. And you
Yes.
can wake up in the morning and have hot bread.
Right.
And you can do it as often or as infrequently as you like. And you can make a lot of things in that bread machine.
Yeah.
They're changing the ingredients too. Yes, Hudson, they're
My
changing the ingredients in the
favorite is
bread.
the jam. I can't wait to do it. I ain't done it yet, and I done had it almost a year now.
Yeah, Triple. I don't think Triple was hacked, but somebody was going under the comments and hoping that we would contact them back at this WhatsApp number. Hey, Analytic Gardener. Um, and so just be careful because people that we know and people that are bigger channels, they sometimes they do announcements about hacking or like not even hacking, but
Right.
somebody trying to like use their image and
And
contact
I
you for
know this is
money,
mainly when you're doing giveaways or
giveaways and
reviews on the
contests.
product. Yep. Because when I did that review, I had a bunch of them. I had to go through there like, wait, who is this? I don't know you. I don't know you.
Yeah.
So
You just
yeah.
gotta report when you click on the comment, you gotta report it as
Yes.
spam and or whatever you report it as.
Right.
And we all need to report it, not just like
Yes.
in this case,
I'm
Triple.
a big
I
reporter.
reported them right away and said, it's a
I
spam.
report anything that looks
And
suspect.
we just have to keep doing that to get these people and block them and get them
Mm-hmm.
off of people's profiles. So don't fall
Right.
for nothing. Nobody, I think, is doing like contact me privately to, and then you go under these videos and someone goes, oh my God, this person made me so much money. Thank you. And then the person goes, oh yeah, I use them too. They gave me, so much millions of dollars. So then I go down and say,
Right.
honey, you must be husband and wife because they have the same story and the same timing. And you're talking
Right.
about winning money on a video about, I don't know, vitamins. Your
Right.
your comment it's not even in context with the video topic. You could be
Right.
talking about heart conditions. Oh yeah, this person got me so much money with these investment tips.
Like,
This is
who
not
is
an
you and
investment
where you
video.
done came from? Right.
So as a non-investment video, and you're talking about these great deals, if the person's so good at investment, why have I never heard of him? Why am
That
I hearing
part.
about him under a comment under a video? I said, nice try. I hope you burn in hell for your lying wicked self, and then quickly they're gone. They
Right.
don't want me because I'm like a wicked evil person stealing from innocent people.
That part.
You know that's unacceptable. Hey, the Bud Files, that's unacceptable.
It is definitely. And I'm like, you take it from people that ain't even got nothing already. That's really sickening.
Okay, so Cassandra, if I didn't say hi, Cassandra, hi. I think I missed you. Maybe I missed you. She got the same message from Blacks and she knew it wasn't them. She confirmed that it was. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Right.
So you guys be alert and aware, and you report. Yeah, I wish they had. Yep, exactly. Because these people are evil, and they're taking money from usually people who are senior citizens who
Right.
don't know any better. Because in
Right.
all seriousness, I had my dad, and even my other friend's parent was crying because they got the call. This is the CRA, the Canada Agency, and you
Yeah.
did not pay this, and we're going to come and seize this and seize that. And the person was crying and under stress because they thought that it was real. It's not
Yeah.
funny when
Right. You
older
could be
people who don't
scammed at
know.
any age though, because I've recently been scammed. Well, it wasn't recently, it's been a couple of years, but yeah, it seemed like it was yesterday.
It's not funny. And these people
No, it's
have
not.
heart conditions, and any little stress can push them over the edge. So when
Yes,
I hear that,
indeed.
I'm not very nice about it. I'm not nice about it at
Right.
all, at all. And I tell them, I hope fire come and I don't care. You're rude.
Right.
Somebody's family members under stress because of your foolishness.
Right.
Then they got to call, oh, my credit card, there's a transaction from this thing and it's always the same dollars and the same exact cents.
Yes.
Press this button to contact. I ain't contacting you, nothing. So
Right.
now when I answer the phone,
No, the worst one is click this link.
I ain't clicking nothing. And my dad
Now
was like,
you
do I
done
click?
clicked
I
on the
said, Dad,
link and
don't
they
click
done got
nothing.
all your information just because you clicked that link and you can't even get back into your information. Like, I know what my password. Nah, it's been changed, sweetie. You clicked
Hey,
that
Gigi.
link. Gigi, hey.
But I don't play around with that. Like it's not funny because some people have made some decisions because they didn't know any better, and then
Right.
they sent money and a lot of money, and and it's not funny when you see your elders getting scammed. So
That
when
part.
you guys see this in the community, you report them. You put a comment and tell them about their what's it, and
Yep.
tell them where to go and how to get there. Hey, unbiased, you give them the scissors, and you give them
Right.
the chop emoji, because they need to go. These people are wicked,
Know
and they're
that.
sitting behind a keyboard somewhere laughing and having a joke at somebody else's expense. It's not funny.
Might have
It's
to
funny
find a
because we
new
know it's a
buy
joke, but
one.
people who've had to lose a lot of money, not funny.
Yes, indeed, TLC. Join this jam making party in the bread
Yeah, you
machine.
can.
Cause
That's what I heard. Some
woo-wee.
people on YouTube be making jam. I'm like, what?
Yes.
You already have. I already have the machine, so I don't
Yep.
have to. Yeah, jam. So we should
Mm-hmm.
probably. I'll find a video, maybe share it. These streets are
Right.
crazy. Yep, there's a lot of scams going on, so just be careful.
Matter of fact, I know
Yes,
who did I
report
see
them
with
before
that?
you block them. Yes, you have to click a
What's her
report
name?
and then you block them.
Mennonite Farmhouse. They have
Yes,
one. She
yes.
has a video on
Okay,
making jam in the bread machine. I remember that for sure.
okay. I met her through Blacks with the canning balls.
Right. She do a lot of homemade
What was it
stuff.
called? Bring your
Scratch.
balls. Something. It was
It
some
was the
saucy
canning,
name
yeah. Bring your wash your hands and bring your balls. It's
or
canning
something. It was
season.
some saucy title, but it was very,
That's what it
very
is.
catchy.
I was there for the whole thing.
But yeah, if you can do that, that makes your life easier. But the bread machine, you can make you can make the
Yeah.
pizza
You
dough
can
and then
make
you
a
just
lot of
freeze the
different
dough.
stuff.
I rely on you following any and everybody you don't know. They rely on you following any and everybody you don't know. That way you will say yes to their requests. I only follow you if I know you, not even your children. Yeah.
Right. That makes
When
sense.
I get phone calls now from these spammers, I answer the phone, but I don't say anything. So you'll just hear the
Right.
phone like silence. And usually
Right.
somebody would say, "Hello, are you there?"
And
Nothing.
then they'll question you like, you're the homeowner, right?
I just go
Wait a
click
minute.
and I block them. As soon as I hear a voice
What do you
that doesn't.
mean I'm the homeowner, right?
Yeah. If I don't hear a voice, or they hear me and they don't know who I am, or they don't identify me by my proper name, or I'm
Right.
like not interested, click block, click block. And
Right.
literally this week the phone has rung, like they're on a cycle, and my
Yeah.
number I guess is on the cycle now, and like from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. ring
Lord.
numbers that I don't know. I answer the phone, I keep quiet, and then right away nothing, like you hear silence.
Right. Because they waiting on that hello.
And then I just block them. So I blocked about 15, 20 numbers right away this week, just because I had the time to deal with them. Hey, David Corey, and that's what I'm doing.
David.
They even have the scams they send in the mail. My mom always would get the home warranty scams. This is a 92-year-old house. They didn't even have warranties when they bought this house. I'm
Right.
telling you.
I get them Visa scams all the time. You have a $5,000 credit union limit. All you got to do is send this in. No, no, I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. If you would give me the card, because that's what you guys do.
That
I would have
part.
said nothing. I would have said nothing. Oh yeah, that Nigerian prince wants to gift you with $10 billion on email.
Man,
Oh
bro.
Lord,
Where they
I
do
even
that
yeah, my dad got those too because he didn't know about those email scams, because he thought anybody who emails you must know you. I said no, no, no.
Right.
People get a
Nah.
master list and they just start sending you foolishness, and that's yeah. But this is the times we live in. But on a back to the hold on, let me just quickly. My dad asked me questions before accessing links. Yeah, you have to have your seniors check in with you and make sure. Do I click here? Do I go on that? Because
Right. And if you look in your browser while you're in your email, there's going to be a lock up there. And some of
correct.
those locks are closed, some of them are open, and then some of them ain't even there. So I would be suspect to if it did not have a lock up there when I was looking.
I had somebody at church on Sunday ask me if I got their message. I said no, and they said, "Did you email me?" I said, "No, I didn't email you." So he was looking for it. Okay, one second, African. He was looking for the email. Then he said, "Okay, let me find it and come back to you." So he came back to me and he said, I said, "Show me the email," because I go, maybe I was hacked. So when he showed me the email, I wasn't hacked. What happens to me and other people is that they use a name that you recognize. So I'll use Tori's brain.
Right.
So the message
Right.
shows it's from Tori's brain. But when you click on the email address, it's not Tori's email address. It's like ABCDFGHI and LMNOP at chronic back pain illness something emoji.com like it's some address that nobody's ever heard of, but they use
Right.
Tori's brain's name because that's the name I'm going to recognize.
Right.
So and he asked him to click some link. It must have been porn. So he tried and he goes, I can't open the link that you sent. And he replied to me, but he was really to them. So I told him, you see when you click here and it shows the address, the email address. He goes, yeah. I go, that's not, because he knows it. That's not. I go, no, it's not my address. That email never even came from my email. So I wasn't hacked, but they know names that you're, hey Cottonwood, they know
Yeah.
names that you're familiar with in your
That's
address
how
book.
those scams work on Facebook too. Once they lock
And
into one person, they go right through your
yes,
friends and family feed and get everybody that you in contact with and start contacting them
for
right
money
down
and
the
stuff.
line.
So I told people have to know you and know how you move.
Right.
And if you're going to send me money, they have my email address that the money would come to. And I have 2 addresses. I'm hearing some music,
Right.
so I don't know what's going on out there. And so don't send it to an alternative address that I've never given you. Like, you
Right.
got to know people. So I showed him the email, and then so we blocked that person, deleted it, and I said, do not ever click on any links unless you know who
That
it's
part.
from. And even then, I'm not going to send you a link and say, just click on this link. I would preface it with, it's about X, Y. Like, you give them some information. I'm never going
Right.
to just send you
And
some
especially if you never
foolishness.
sent them a link before. Now
Never.
all of a sudden out of the blue you send them a link, like click this link. Wait.
And
Radar.
yes, Renaissance, never say yes because they could be recording your voice and then they use it to exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
So I put
Yes
on my
and
granny
okay.
voice. I put on my granny voice. And they'll be like, hello. And I'm like, hello? Hello? Sorry, me can't hear you, but speak up, man. Speak up. Me can't. Hello?
Start
Hello?
using that.
And my
Just an
friend said,
urban
this
voice.
girl is ridiculous. Hello? Who? Me? What you say? What you say? And they're like, and then they hang up on me because now I'm getting under their skin.
Right,
So when we're
right.
done,
But
then
keep
my
that. It's
sister,
me urban voice.
the granny, and I'll sit there. Hello? Who? Who? What? E? And then there's one time I pretended I was being assaulted by somebody as a mockery. It's not a mockery, but when you keep calling me about duck cleaning, I'm going to get ridiculous with you now.
Well,
And don't answer the call for 10 seconds. It will cut off. Yeah, it does cut off. Exactly. And I just block them. So somebody called and said something about duck cleaning. If you know about, like, you get calls like 5 times an hour about duck cleaning. So finally I
well.
said, I'm gonna answer the phone. I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna kill, screaming, like really loud. Oh my God, help me, help, call the police. All I see is click. I didn't see no police
I be
come.
hanging up too, like
I didn't
saying
see no police
911.
calling back the number that they called to say that we heard there's a emergency or an act of violence against you. Are you okay? Nobody called back. Nobody checked on me. Nothing left me there for dead.
Well,
So we do that all the time now. So now I just sit there and say, okay, what should we do today? What should I say today? Hey, all terrain coffee and camping. And I just say something ridiculous. Since you have time to call me 5 times an hour and bug me and keep blocking my phone,
but
I'm
you
gonna just
can't
be
see it
ridiculous.
911 when I'm hollering for help.
Yep. Then you'll hear me answer the phone and I'll have my phone and I'm like, I didn't say hello, but I'm just clapping my gum, eating food. And I'll be crunching chips. Nothing.
Wait,
Not saying
what my
hello. Not saying nothing.
Renaissance
Just crunch,
grandma said?
crunch. Oh,
What
she
that
had
was, my
said,
Renaissance?
hold on, I'll put it back up. She had said when you answer their calls, I'll
Oh,
put it back up
okay.
there.
Yeah, there you go.
If they start off asking you a question or asking you, can you
Right
hear
on.
me? Never say yes. It can be a recording getting your permission to get your approval for something.
That part.
Don't say, let's say, or just, I don't say nothing at all anymore.
No form of agreement.
Nothing. Yeah, no form of agreement because they're recording. And I was saying to my sister, I don't even know if they're taking your voice recording because now everything is
Right.
voice recognition.
Right.
Um, even the banking is voice. Hey, Candy, Dudette. I think that's how I pronounce it, right? Hopefully I got it right. Um,
Do this.
yeah, it's voice recognition, and even if you don't approve, most of the banks now are asking. They're automatically doing voice recognition. You have to actually go in to opt out of it. So
Right.
they're not even making it a default to just do the regular PIN code. It's voice. I'm like, this is really they're using my name for freaking. Yeah. So that's what I. So yeah, nobody came to help me. This left me there. Yeah, you have to have your granny voice and have your script ready and
Hmm.
just talk gibberish.
Right.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna have beans and toast. Do you like beans and toast? Ma'am, do you want to? No, man, I want beans on the toast. You have beans on toast? And let's go around and just do foolishness. They're not gonna call you back. Well, hopefully not. Hey, Grammys Journal. Hopefully they're not gonna call you back. But you have to just you make it funny because they're irritating. They're irritating. But let me go back. Hold on. When I have time to play with the scam callers, I tell them they have called a crime scene and ask for their name and how they know the victim. Yeah, you see, I'm gonna try that then. I'm gonna try that. Exactly. How do you know the victim? And exactly. You have to have your answer because these people be calling and harassing you.
Yes, they do. For no reason.
So that's going. You do love playing crazy. Am I playing or maybe I really am? Maybe we're all crazy. That's pretending to be sane.
Well, I know I am. I ain't gonna pretend to be nothing.
Yeah. But oh yeah. Um yeah. So you have to be careful. Please be careful but yeah, keep your eye on each other in this community and if you get a message from someone that doesn't really make sense, and what I used to do is I still do. I put myself as a contact in my email so that if a spam goes out, I get the email as well at my other addresses. And that's how
Oh,
I know that's how I found out that my account was sending out stuff. And then somebody went in and put an auto reply on certain stuff. I didn't do it. Somebody
oh
hacked in and
wow.
did an auto, yeah, and I'm like, what is this message that keeps going out recommending this link and this stuff that I didn't, and they had put in an auto reply or some kind of auto message when I sent a message. There
Right.
was something at the bottom every single time.
Mm.
So just keep an eye on things, and if you see something that's weird, tell the person. Don't just say, "Oh, that's weird," and tell them because
Right.
hold on, Africans coming up because someone's trying to steal money from people, and it's not funny.
African dream
Hey,
man.
African, is he there?
Sure.
My
I think he's.
bad.
I think
My
he's.
bad.
Oh.
Oh, you sound far away. You sound far away.
Okay, can you hold on a minute? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're there, but you sound far away.
Oh, let me unplug.
Wait a minute.
Did that help?
Yeah,
There
that's
we
better.
go. There we go.
How's it
Okay,
going,
okay.
man?
Sorry about that. I'm doing good, sis. I'm up here speaking, and I ain't even had a mic on. What's up, G Mama?
Hey, African.
I ain't had no prank calls. Not prank. What you call them? What we talking about? What's them
Yeah,
people?
those spam calls.
Robocall. Right.
Yeah, I I used to. I mean, I don't really get them over here, but I used to say, "Hey, what who is what you do? What you got on? Why you calling so late?"
I'm telling you, they
Didn't I
they, they
meet
get
you at
caught like, oh
Shonda
my
House?
god, they get caught off guard. And by
Are
saying
you
scream
catching
and
my
yell
point?
Jesus, they do. That happens. Look at the blood of Jesus! The blood! Quick! They're like, this is a weird.
I
Oh, she's weird. Don't call that number again.
real weird. But so I got in touch with motivation, but before I got on the phone with him, I heard G Mama say something, and that's the truth. We need to know people, and I'm glad this is a close knit community because about at least 4 or 5 other people I know then got that same message from him, and it ain't him. So
Oh wow.
yeah, yeah,
Definitely not him. You gotta know people because this is how
Right.
they're basing their scam on you thinking it's the person.
Right.
So you gotta
yep.
always, yeah.
And I ain't gonna be up here long because I want y'all ladies to talk. I just want to enjoy the conversation. But G
Hmm.
Mom, it's a pleasure to be up on panel with you. And you
You
said something. Y'all
too.
talking
Thank
about
you.
the yes, ma'am. It's been too long.
Right.
The bugs, girl, our natural body flora, it is little critters all over us
That
right now.
part.
And just to
I didn't
bust all
find
y'all
that out
out, I
till
know
I
what
went through nursing school, and I was mortified. Like, oh my God, if people find this out, they're gonna be like, "What?"
it takes some getting over. It takes some getting used to
Right.
once you find this stuff out. Have you ever been in an old house? Like it's kind of dark. It's just kind of dark, and it's an open window, open curtain, and the house can be clean, but you see that big line of dust in the sunshine,
Right.
Yep.
all filled with hundreds of like billions, trillions of little dust mites that's
Right.
just in
And
the
guess
air.
what dust
So
mites
when
live off of? Your
Skin.
skin.
us,
Yes. When you see
yes.
that dust
So
bunny up under the couch, yeah, that's all you rolling through there.
exactly. That's all you. Yeah. Yes. Yes. That that's what went through my mind when you were saying that, G Mama, because that's
Mm.
exact 100% right. And did you
Right.
know, just so y'all sleep good tonight, did you know that all of us have eyelash mites that come
Yes.
out of our eyelashes at
Yes.
night to mate?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yes.
yeah.
And you know
Ain't
what
that fun?
I can tell you that is a good cure for mites on your body? Baby shampoo. You can
Really?
use it on your eyelids, your eyebrows. You ain't gonna burn, and it's gonna clean you.
You know, I've always used
That's
I've
what's
always,
up.
yeah, and I don't know why because it's gentler, but I always have baby shampoo.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's what I use on everything. Everything, everything. When I tell you baby shampoo is my best friend, that's what it is.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to get on that, G Mama, because I just been
Yeah.
rushing the old fashioned way. That might be
Yep.
why April always smell better than me. So I gotta up my game.
Yep. Just
Yeah.
read the what I'm trying
Ingredient.
to say. The ingredients, yeah, because it should not have no alcohol and all that other stuff up in there. Baby shampoo is safe for babies, so guess what else is safe for?
Us,
Yeah.
big
Yeah,
babies.
Especially
Yes,
like your eye,
ma'am.
yeah, around the gentle areas, exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because you put some of
I've
that
always used
Dove
it.
soap or you put some of that darn liquid soap in your eye, it's gonna burn.
It's bad, bad,
Yes.
real bad. Yeah, that's a good point, G Mama. That's a good. Now I got some soap. I got some of the bar soap, but you own to some with that shampoo. I'm
Oh
gonna have to
yeah.
really,
I
yeah.
only say it because that's what I use. I ain't gonna tell you nothing I ain't gonna use. Or should I say
That
if
makes
I
sense.
don't use it?
Right.
You have to find solutions
Right.
because people who are overly sterile, it's actually not good because people want to use alcohol or they want to use white,
Right,
and that's
right.
not
Your
good.
body has to
Mm-hmm.
The
have a
tea tree,
layer of
yeah,
protection, and that layer of protection is your dead skin cells. If you keep scrubbing those off, then your body is not protected, and then you're wondering why you sick. You too clean.
yeah.
It sounds
Can we
crazy,
name
but
our
that's the
oil
truth.
ourselves? Just kidding.
Oh yeah, girl, bye. Better rub up with some of that good coconut oil, jojoba oil.
And then Renaissance is saying if you put on like the fake lashes, that's a breeding ground. Yep.
Oh, definitely. I don't do
And
none
then
of that.
you'll get like styes in your eye and all the different,
Yeah, that's from that dirt and stuff building up there,
yeah, and the glue and whatever else they put on there. Like, yeah,
and the bugs that nobody know about.
yep. So hence back to the soil. I ain't putting no soil back in here in this house again. Like we're done with soil. It's not worth it. It's too
Right,
much. It's too much for me to fight. Oh, he must have dropped out. Too much for me to fight with soil when soil belongs outside.
right,
That's where it belongs. And we're trying to bring everything in the house and it doesn't belong there. And I know that we're trying to, like, you're growing tropical fruits and trees, so you bring them indoors.
Right.
That's different because you have to overwinter stuff if you don't have a garage. If you have a garage and you have a nice light in there, you can put it in the garage, and I have some trees in there, keep them, over the winter.
Right. And that's
But
how I got all my trees in the house because they were bare roots. I bought no trees in soil at all.
so then they stay in the house all the time.
Right. Right. Yep. I
Yeah,
just started taking them out this season because my apple trees, I only got like one apple. So I took it outside so it can get some chill hours.
right. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Back to the garden topic. I'm going to be focusing my energy on purchasing and getting trees, and I am
Mhm.
scaling back the garden for 2023, and then 2024 may be different, but based on what's going on
Right.
with the pollution, I need to fast track my infrastructure setup so that I can
Right.
protect what I have outdoors and have some kind of covering, catch the rainwater, filter it somehow, or charcoal or something
Right. That's what I need. Rainwater catchment.
before it feeds into my garden. Like, I need a catchment and I need something to filter it before I feed it into the garden beds. Based
Right.
on all
It's a
that's
bunch of
happening,
filters.
I saw some, so I'm just gonna, and I'm thinking, like, I can't be running around starting all these. Like, last year I had seeds all over the place, starting seedlings, nursing. Like, it was a lot of time and effort, and it was worth it.
Yeah, especially when they seedlings. That's like, yeah, you got to constantly be on your
And
game.
feed them and keep, the airflow.
Right,
And I don't want to put all that time this year just based on what I need to get accomplished.
right,
I'm gonna be getting more starts from the nursery. I will start some, and if I do, they're going to the parents' garden. I'm not dealing with that over here. They have some
hmm
things already set up that they can handle it over there. I'm not
hmm
doing that over here just because time is getting so things are changing so rapidly
right,
in the world and in our cities and states that I need to have some things already in place.
right,
And this year is going to be about livestock for me, and that's why I have to and it's only me. I only have two hands. I only have so much,
right, right.
so I have to make the best out of what I have.
I was thinking
And
about livestock myself, but only thing I could really handle probably is another rabbit since I already have one rabbit. It's just me, so yeah, I think
probably you could
another
handle
rabbit.
quail though. You could probably handle quail.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Quail too.
Yeah, you could probably, because it's
Because they
small.
about the same size. Yeah, because I
They
have
could fit in a small cage in the house, a small, like, say,
yeah,
rabbit. You
because
can
I
have
have a
two,
mini Rex. I don't have the full size rabbit. He's like the
the
Chihuahua of rabbit.
dwarfy.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of that because you think you have time, and we probably do. I'm not fear mongering. I do think we have a lot of time, but I
Right.
want to get the learning out of the way now, if that makes
Right.
sense.
And that's one more thing. You have to learn what you're growing. You can't always just stick it in the ground and think it's going to grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to
Because
learn that. Yeah,
right. You
and
never
figure
would have
out
figured. Yeah.
yeah.
You just got to figure out your mixes and your ratios. Everything should be measured. I'm not one to just pour something on because when you pour it on, how you going to know how much to pour on the next time if you should happen to need that?
And even, let's just hop onto the livestock for a minute, because I'm assuming you feed your rabbit pellets, right?
Some, not, yeah. It's a
Okay.
supplemental food.
Okay, so that's exactly the wording. Supplemental food. You're not
Right.
relying on the pellets.
No,
That's
I
just
rely on his hay, and I give him a couple of different types of hay.
And do you have any concern about chemicals on the hay? I know somebody had an issue with their animals dying because of some spray on the hay. Is that an issue for you?
No, no, I don't wild source my hay. I mainly go to the pet supply store and get my
Mhm.
hay. So if something does go wrong, I know who to go to.
Okay. See, yeah, because I know somebody had a bad experience with that with their animal. And
Right,
some animals aren't cheap. They
right,
like, it costs you money to, especially when you're using them to breed and or to for
right. And a lot of
feeding.
animals got insurance. You got to pay insurance on them just like you do for yourself.
So this is can be financially devastating for some people. Um, hold on a second here. Your video reminded me that I need to raise one of my grow lights before it starts burning my seedlings. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It'll cook
Them
the
plants
whole
will
year.
grow fast once they like where they at. They be like,
But
hey, let me stretch out.
I'm seeing a lot of videos from since that issue with the store with the feed, and people saying they're not getting no eggs, and some people are using goat feed now, and going around in circles. And
Right,
people have been saying this for years. This is not just yesterday, but now all of
right,
a sudden they're being taken seriously. So people who are recommending natural things, they're mixing things with their feed. They've always mixed their feed with other things to stretch it and to add what they want into it.
right.
Now all of a sudden, everybody and their mama's looking at these videos,
Right,
myself included.
yeah,
I'm getting
that's important. That's
animal.
why it's self-sufficiency. You have to learn how to be self-sufficient rather than running to the store to try to purchase everything you need. Because even when you purchase from the store, it's not guaranteed to be safe.
Correct. And this is David saying, feed your damn chickens table scraps. But people have been saying, and I'm going to use the term they. We don't know. We never know who they
Right,
is.
that
Oh,
part.
it's not enough. It's not enough nutrients. You're going to make them sick, and it's
Right.
always this
And I've
fear.
been looking like this plant will take this plant. I what I do is companion plant because I know a plant is not gonna take what it ain't gonna use. And if it ain't there, then it can't use it. So companion planting is what I do. So I don't believe in all that nutrient stealing. I hear what they saying, but like I said, that's my opinion.
And even if your opinion's wrong, you've been doing it and it's been working. You
That
ain't you
part.
ain't you ain't you ain't harming yourself or anything else. So
Right.
obviously
And
there's a bit of truth in what you're saying and maybe a bit in what they're saying.
right.
There's no
Everybody don't garden the same. That's why you have to garden in order to know what you're growing. Because if you don't grow it, you ain't gonna know it. You just gonna be going off an assumption that this tomato is gonna produce me tomatoes. They gonna be sweet, and that's what I'm gonna have. When all actuality, it's not the plant; it's what's in your soil.
exactly. And I'm ready to get livestock, and I was researching for the last several months, even maybe to a year ago now, because it's something that I've been planning and working towards. And I'm thinking, I don't want to spend, 20, $30 a week on feed. That they ain't
Right.
gonna work. And hell,
Right.
I might as well go and buy eggs at that rate and
Yeah,
go buy
because
chicken.
there's a lot of feed that you can grow for your animals as well as purchase. But I would more lean towards the grow if I had the space for it to grow my own feed for my livestock.
And I remember it was James Franklin who mentioned alfalfa. And he was
Yeah,
talking
alfalfa is
about
excellent for everything.
good for your soil and good for livestock. So guess what
Yeah,
I have? I got a big old bag of alfalfa.
yes,
And I'm going to use
and
that for my amendments for my soil, for my pots, for my grow bags,
right,
and to feed the livestock because
right,
that can make the food stretch. And to grow it is also very, very cheap and
right.
affordable.
That's what I was just about to say. And once you get big enough to where you have enough space to grow your own, then you can grow your own.
That's you can if someone needs to drop their link, you just type #urban. I think that's what you're asking on 93 Stang. If they type #urban, they can drop their link. The Nightbot's already set up. Let me just go back. And then D-Mood mentioned something on his community tab that some rooster killed somebody. I don't
Oh
know if you saw
Lord!
it. So I told D-Mood that's why I walk out with my machete. Because if them ever
Wow!
come for me,
Now that's
we're
scary.
having a jerk chicken seasoning
That
fest out
part.
there. Because you ain't coming for me. I don't feed you, take care of you, and you're gonna come for
That
me.
part.
You know your place. You better know your place over here.
Right.
And if you come
You
for
know
me,
that.
boom, it's finished for you. We're done.
Hmm.
You are a
You
start.
take part in the
So
same thing.
okay, it says here they love pickles with candy in the middle.
Well,
What soil should you be using for outdoor planting? I'm new at this and don't know.
products.
Sorry, I don't know if it's my eyes. Just don't want to be buying
Yeah.
unnecessary products. Thanks in
That's
advance.
why I said you can look at soil and it's confusing because all soil labeling is geared toward getting you to purchase this soil. whether they say it's organic or if it's specifically for this. All soil is the same. It's going to be dependent on what you're looking for. If you're growing outside, they have soil that's specifically geared for outside. It's in small print, but you can see on the packaging, it's going to say for container gardening, for raised beds, for outdoor gardening, and they all mean different things. And the only thing that I can tell you about buying soil and packaging is because I only container garden. I don't plant anything outside in the ground. Everything that I grow is in containers. So what I use is a specific soil, and it's a soil mix. It's not container soil or the other soils, because of the fact the other soils have barks, big sticks, and rocks and other
Yeah,
things that
the cheap
right. Like
fillers.
if you watch sifting some soil, she buys soil that she has to sift. That's a soil. It's not a soil mix. I don't lost my train of thought, but
I think she sifts it for her seed starts because you can't have all those sticks.
right.
But
And
she doesn't sift it for her raised beds. Yeah.
and that's how you get the soil mix. You don't want anything in your soil mix to impede the growth of your plants while it's going through the soil. But you just have to
Let me
read
just
the
add my 5
labeling.
cents when you finish. Go ahead. Sorry.
You have to read the labeling on these soil packets to understand what's in the soil. You can't just run out there and pick up no soil. An example I will give you, because I had ran out of soil that I had been growing and I didn't know I was growing that much. But to make a long story short, I went out there and got some cheap bags of soil because they was like $2. I'm like, whoa, $2, let me grab this. Didn't read nothing but container soil. There are different types of soil, and if you want the right mix, this is why I say you have to grow, because you have to know what's also in your soil. And what I've learned from growing in the container soil is there are a lot of sticks and rocks in there, and it takes away from the soil itself. And it also they have what are those little green pellets, slow release fertilizers in those bags. You don't know how long that stuff has been in those bags. And it says on the package that it feeds your plants for 3 to 6 months. How long has that bag of soil been sitting on that shelf?
10 years.
Was it on the bottom? They don't rotate their soil. They just put bags in when they come in and remove and change and so on and so forth.
And I'm going to say the complete opposite of what you just said. When I started my garden, I went and bought the cheapest that I could find.
Right. And cheapest will make your soil compact. You will never get proper drainage because there's nothing in there to aerate the soil. But they assume that by putting those, the sphagnum peat moss and the wood chips, all of that stuff, they assume that because you can see it in the bag that it's going to work, and it don't work that way. No. There has to be a certain ratio in there to the soil in order for it to drain properly. Otherwise, it's going to either get compacted or it could be too loose and it's not going to hold anything.
I think, irregardless of what anybody tells you, it comes a point where you have to, G Mama said, and I'm saying, you have to just go and do it.
Right.
That's the long and short. She could tell you what to buy and it don't work because your situation is more complex than you can even know, because you're just asking a general question. I bought the cheapest stuff and I grew food.
And when you're a new grower, when you first start buying and using your soil, everything is going to go great. It's going to grow wonderfully because you don't know how long that soil has been there, and it might be to the end of its life. And now you're growing and you think you're growing good, and now your plants are dying. And you like, well, wait a minute, what's going on?
Yeah. So you have to, if you know, do whatever you want. We each have our own budget. I bought the cheapest soil, but I mixed my soil with manure, with compost. I already knew about getting the leaves in the fall. I would get the leaves and put them and compost them. I would chop and drop. I learned that from everybody, but especially Dan Permaculture. He goes around and he chop and him drop and let the stuff break down where it dropped, or in the raised beds or in the garden beds. It's
Right.
not just I'm going to buy this soil and then I'm going to grow food.
Right.
That's just the
Right.
bare minimum.
Soil has to be fed because soil is a living thing.
Living. You have to be
The
putting things
soil is
back
what
into
keeps
it.
your plants alive. If your soil is bad, your plants are going to be bad.
You can buy the most expensive soil and have a
Right.
crappy garden. So I
Right.
figured I'm going to buy the cheapest soil and I'm going to
Yep.
build it. I'm
That's
going to
what you got
build
to do.
I'm gonna put the leaves. I'm gonna chop and drop banana peels and banana water. I'm
And
gonna
then you have
use
to keep on doing it. You
keep
can't
on
just
doing it.
you
Yes,
can't just do it for a little bit and think it's gonna be okay, 1 or 2. No, no, you have to keep on doing it. And for
correct.
me, growing in containers, I always have to replenish my soil because they're always taking the nutrients out of the soil.
Right, because there's nowhere else for the roots to go to get nutrients. People just
Right,
don't get it. They don't understand the basics. If you're in a pot and you are relying on somebody to feed you, like a
right,
baby, literally, your
right.
baby
That's what
can't
it
walk to the
is. You
fridge
are
and
in
cook up
total
scrambled
control.
eggs. You have
Right,
to be putting so that's why people say, why is so much? I gotta water so much and I gotta feed so much. That's why a lot of
right,
people grow in ground because actually it's
right.
less work.
And
It
that's
is
what
less
made
work.
me learn patience because I am a control freak. That's why I grow in containers because I want to be able to control. But a plant would tell you, no, you're not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. And this is where the training comes involved. If you have to know how to communicate with your plants in order to get them to do what you want them to do.
You do. So anybody who's new to gardening, the first thing I'm gonna say is I don't care what any of us are saying, less is more. Buy what you can afford, keep it
Right,
simple. Don't be going out and buying all these products that we just recommended. We're
right,
talking amongst gardeners who are more experienced and who have been doing this
right.
for a
And
minute and we're
start
at a different
small.
grade. Don't be saying, oh, I need to buy 511. You don't need to buy no 5
Right.
nothing.
You don't know if
You
your
can just
plants
take your
need
peas
that.
and fling them in the garden. Your potato skins and fling them in the garden. You can
Right.
just
You
do
got
that.
to
You don't need
learn
to
if
buy
your plant is
nothing.
limp because it ain't got no food or it ain't got no water. It could be one or the other.
Just do simple. Catch some rainwater if you can, because tap
Right.
water is not the best for your garden.
It is not. And
Planter,
especially now.
you need to learn how to, and you're going to learn as you go. This is the whole point. And even when you know,
Right.
you're going to learn because the environment is unfortunately changing for the worse. So
That
don't,
part.
some people went and bought every product that they heard us mentioning and they gone off to go and I don't know how much they spent. And then you're confused because you're
Right.
actually defeating
And you
the
can't
purpose because you're
use
putting on too
everything
much
at once, just
at the
like
same
plant.
time.
Right. Because fertilizers have a season too. They can't be used all the time, every time.
You cannot. So you go out there and you think, okay, I'm gonna garden. That's you have too much products, you have too much things, you're
Right.
confused, then you're buying soil, compost, manure, mulch, and you bought raised bed mix, you bought this.
And then you just
No,
dumping it
no,
out there. Oh,
and just
that
dump it,
really
dump
gets
it.
my goat. Like,
Okay.
don't just dump it. You don't know what.
And then you
But
didn't
I
mix it
can't.
good. You didn't mix it good, and then you put
Right.
seeds
I
directly
still
on
see
the
the.
top layer of
I still
manure.
see the bone meal on the top. It's not. What are you doing?
You don't need bone meal. You don't need blood meal. Maybe you need an all-purpose fertilizer if you choose to get it,
Right.
by all means. But do
Right.
not go to the store and say, these people are liars. It's so expensive. We didn't tell you to
Right. Well,
buy all
this
that
might make
stuff.
somebody mad, but I feed all my stuff the same thing. I don't. Yeah. All my plants get the same food.
Did I use Miracle Grow? Yes, I bought a big old bottle. I still have the bottle.
Right.
Do I need
If
it? Now I know I do not need it. But if I choose
right.
to use it, you can't judge me either. If I want to sprinkle some on my
That
tomato, I'm going to
part,
sprinkle
that's
it.
your stuff. That's your garden. That's your food. You got to eat it.
If you want to use Miracle Grow, by all means, do what you want to do if you're feeling that's going to help you.
That
As
part.
you live and you learn, you start growing in this gardening, you'll start to realize that the leaves are enough and the compost and the
Yeah.
chop and drop, all of
And the
these things
stuff
are
that
enough.
you eat, your leafy greens, all of that's good in the garden.
And your manure, if you have like Jimama
Yep.
has a rabbit, some people have
Yep.
chickens and turkeys, some people got goats, horses,
Right.
whatever,
And you got to learn
you're,
how to process it too.
yep.
Everything is
So
about learning. You have to be willing to open up your mind and feel what's going on around you.
Just buy a general all-purpose soil, whatever you can afford. I personally ain't paying more than $2 or something for a bag of soil because I know
Right.
that soil is full of foolishness. No matter how much I pay for it, I saw some bags for like $10 a bag, $15 a bag, special raised bag, this, that, the third. It's all full of
Yeah.
crap,
And
full of
that's
stick.
what it is. It's all in the labeling of the product. Just like when you go buy, let's say, soap that you've been using. Now you don't find out that this ain't the soap that you should be using, and you're looking for another soap, but you're confused because there's so many soaps out there. Like, which one do I try?
So yeah. So when I started gardening, I Caribbean parents, we didn't use none of that stuff.
Right.
I didn't know about no five nothing until I come on YouTube. I'm telling you, I didn't know about no
Right.
blood milk. I'm like, what? People, listen, if you want to use
Yeah.
all that, by all means. People been
Right.
growing food with nothing. Hey, AR
Right.
Guns and Miss Native, you don't have to use all that.
Right.
And you don't have to make anybody make you feel anyway. If you can only afford 50 cents for the broken bags of soil, and that's what you can afford, then that's what
Right.
you're gonna buy and you're gonna
Because
grow
it's
your
going to
food
take
and
you
you're
a
gonna eat
while
it.
to build that soil up anyway, because the soil is going to be depleted because of the simple fact you don't know how long that soil been there.
And you don't know what's in the soil because half the time
Right.
it's full of plastic bits and pieces. Ask me how I
Right.
know.
Yep.
It's full of plastic bits and pieces, garbage, probably chemicals because it's been in that
Yep.
plastic bag in the hot sun for how many.
Right.
So you're adding problems to your garden, but we
Yes.
do it knowingly because we're not naive, and we know
Right.
that the worms and stuff over time will clean it out.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna garden, just garden. Do
Right.
what you gotta do, grow your food, but buy a lot of soil and commit to it so that the soil can break down and do what it needs to do over time. Don't buy a
Right.
bag, do a little bag, a raised bed, and then next you're gonna buy another bag. Give the
Right.
soil time to do what needs to do. I have 2 beds that I've never grown in. I've put the dirt in there, I put leaves in there and stuff, and I'm letting it break down and do what it needs to do. When I
Right.
do add more soil to it, it already has an ecosystem that's going to clean out and take away anything that's bad in the soil. If you're going to do it, just commit to doing it. Don't say, I'm going to
Right.
just do one little thing, get all the dirt you need, put it where you want it to go, even if you're
Right.
not going to plant there, so that the nature can do what it has to do.
Right.
Microbes can begin to do what it needs to
Especially if you
do.
buy soil, you can buy extra soil because it's not going to be extra because you're going to still be wanting to plant, and just cover it up with a tarp so it can sit out somewhere and be marinating while you getting ready.
Correct. So, you know, I can't, and I know you can't tell anybody what soil to buy. I know a lot of you guys talk about
Right.
black cow. Black cow seems to be very popular, very readily available. It's a
I have
compost.
never used the black
A lot of
cow.
people recommend that. If you have a
I
horse
have
farm near you,
vermicompost.
you know,
I've
ask
been
them if they have,
vermicomposting ever since I started gardening. I don't think there's anything better than vermicompost. And if it is, I'm not going to know it because this is what I choose to do.
and that's actually, and I'm going to move into that soon. The vermiculture is worms. For those who don't know, you have a worm bin and you take the worm crap and you put it back into
Yeah. And I don't even
your
separate
soil
my
and the
stuff no
water.
more. I don't even separate my stuff no more because I understand the life cycle of a worm.
There you go. So as you begin to develop your own style and what you want in your garden, you're going to go along some different paths.
Right.
Vermiculture is probably safer. It's probably a bit more complicated, but it's safer because you're talking about horses, sheep, and
Right.
cows that are being
Right.
given feed that is full of Roundup and chemicals that's in
Right.
their manure that's now in your soil in your garden.
Right.
It depends on how deep you want this to go. It's up to you. But when you start, you're starting understanding that you're putting poisons into your soil. If you
Yeah.
think you're not, you're sadly mistaken, because
Right.
whatever you buy from the store is full of crap. We
Right.
all know and understand this, but some of us have been gardening for so long that we're no longer buying soil. You're getting your compost, you have your chicken manure. Some people
Right.
have piles of mulch that's been breaking down, and they haven't really bought soil in years. They don't
Right.
need to. But when you're first starting out, you either got to pay for a soil delivery, you got to buy
Right.
the bags, you got to start from somewhere if you don't have beds already kind of there.
Right.
If you
And
use
just
cows, there's
because
yeah,
everybody is using one brand, that don't mean that's the brand for you.
correct. Correct. Fifi got a delivery of mulch to her property. If you watch Fifi's journey, and she heard the city workers chopping down large trees in the distance. And when she heard the wood chipper, she drove around to find them and asked them to dump the mulch on her lawn because they have to pay to dump it, and she'll take it for free, and got a whole pile of free
I
mulch
know that's right.
from a local tree that she, because she went and approached them
Right.
because she knows the value of mulch and how that's going to
Right.
break down in her garden. So, it depends on how deep you want to go, but we
Right.
all had to start from somewhere,
Right.
and just start, and just know that you're going to be spending some time
And
with
start small. Don't be
cleaning your
trying to
soil.
grow everything at one time. You can't grow lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and everything at once. You got to grow
Bok
one
choy
thing.
and an
Right.
eggplant, and then you hear people talking about, oh, I want to grow this fancy thing from Japan that I shipped from
Right.
the
You got
seed
to start
company.
off basic. Start out with some
Basic.
leafy greens, some lettuce, and some herbs if you got to incorporate anything together.
Right, and what you actually enjoy eating, and then you'll taste
Then
the
work
difference.
up to the tomato and the cucumber, and all of that grows differently.
And it takes more time and more investment.
Right.
And you're going to learn real quick that the bugs are going to find your garden. And then
Right.
you're going to be upset now that you have all these things you have to be running out and fighting with these bugs and spraying. And, oh my God, what do I do?
It took me a long time to get
Oh
over
my
there.
God, I have
I'm
to
outside
water
all
the
the
garden
time.
too.
Like, oh
I
my
got to
God,
water
oh my
this
God.
too. I got to weed. What? I got to do work.
Right.
Yeah. You're going to learn real fast. So then you're going to realize, oh, so grow what you can manage and what you
Right.
actually like to eat.
Because that's important. Because if you overwhelm yourself, you're going to give up on everything. And you ain't got to give up on everything. Just give
Then
up
you're
on
going
a
to hear
couple of
people talking
things
about
and then pick it back
GMO.
up again.
And then you're going to hear gardeners talking about, oh, GMO and this and that. Listen here. And I think most people in my life will tell you, you can't buy GMO seeds on the regular market anymore.
No, you cannot.
So I don't even know why we spend so much time talking about non-GMO.
Right.
They
Because
only
that's
sell
what
GMO
sells.
to commercial growers.
That's what
It's either you
sells on the
have
market. Even when they sell you seeds, no matter where you buy them, they're going to put non-GMO because that's what sells.
what sells, but you can't get GMO anyways.
Right.
So,
And the only way you'll know that is if you did your research and find out what is GMO and where does GMO come from.
So a lot of people are throwing out these terms and hybrid.
Right.
Let me tell you something. And I said this before, and I'll say it every week, every damn week, every year. Nothing's wrong with hybrid.
Nothing.
Hybrid is a natural cross-pollination process.
Right.
All we talk about, don't buy hybrid. Maybe half of us are hybrids. Really.
Right.
Maybe we're half alien. I don't know. Maybe you're half snake. Maybe you're half, reptilian. I don't know. This happens naturally occurring in nature.
Yes,
Things are going to cross-pollinate. Hey, tree rogi.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happens. And always don't get hybrid. I'm watching people talk about hybrids. If you knew what a hybrid was, you wouldn't be talking because you obviously don't know what you're talking. Oh, it's man-made.
That's where anything you grow is not right. It's not going to taste like right.
We've been selecting breeding from the beginning of time. That's not quote unquote man-made. GMO is really man-made.
Yeah.
Slice and dice in a lab. They think that everything now is man-made. No. Selective breeding is a process that most people use. It's the same as grafting. It's the same as air layering. It's techniques that we've learned to use to
speaking
expand
of that,
growing.
I ain't trying to cut you off, but if you grow in containers like I do, you need to look for dwarf varieties or mini or micro or small, because if you get regular sized trees and all of that, regular tomatoes, indeterminate, big 10-foot tomato vines, you're not going to be able to handle that in a container.
Exactly. And that's a benefit of selective breeding. So it's not, hybrid is not this evil word and this evil, oh my God, it's man-made. I can't eat. There's a whole thing you can't eat broccoli. I've been eating broccoli. I'm going to continue to eat broccoli. And broccoli sprouts have been proven
okra. That's why I grow it in containers, because this is what I want to grow. I can't grow no 10-foot tall okra plant, but I can grow a dwarf okra and enjoy it just as much as if it was 10 feet tall.
Do your own research. Oh, you can't
Right.
use the seeds from a hybrid. It's not going to be true to the mother. Nothing you buy is true to the mother. You can buy
That part.
everything as an heirloom. Once you
Right.
plant them in your garden and they're near each other, and the bees and the wasps and the bugs start hopping from one to the next, do
Right.
you think those are heirloom anymore?
Nope.
The only thing that's heirloom was what's left in the pack. And
Right.
after a time, you're going to start harvesting your own seeds. That's no
Yep.
longer heirloom.
Right.
It doesn't exist unless you're on a farm where they only grow one thing, and
Right.
it's so far apart that they can continually get true heirloom seeds.
Right.
Everybody else in their backyard, I don't like, oh, it has to be heirloom. Why?
Yeah, there are some people that will only grow certain things so they can do that, like those pepper growers where they have to isolate their grows so the it don't interfere with the other pepper or whatever, tomatoes. So those are the only people I know of.
That's just there's all these words and people just throwing out stuff, and then people are just getting confused and getting
Right,
upset. Listen, grab some seeds. I have seeds from the Dollar Tree and Dollarama, and they grew me food just fine.
right, baby.
They're not
Them dollar
GMO.
store trees be showing out. Yes, they do.
They're not GMO. It's just they may
They
be
grow
hybrid.
just as good as if you paid $5 for a pack and you got 4 of them for $1.
And most likely, like the food that's manufactured, it's all made from the same source. It's just a different package they put the seeds in, or the package they put the bread in. And you're
Right,
paying $10 for the same thing you buy for $1. But you
right,
feel the $10 one is better. It's from the same factory.
right.
Like same warehouse, same place, same plant.
Mhm.
So you know, just start. That's all we got to worry about. Just start growing.
Right,
There's too much confusion going around that people who are new are getting all confused about what to use and what to buy and this, that. The Unbiased was showing us yesterday on Big Rooster her seed starting and the light. People talking about the light. And this, she bought a grow light. If it's a grow light, that's the correct light.
you're right.
I don't know who's telling, again, someone's gonna get upset with me, but no,
Anyway,
you have
my
to use this
question
light.
is, do
You
you
have to use
grow?
that light. If you went to the store and they sold you a grow light and it's used to grow plants,
That
then you
part?
have the right light.
And especially if it says grow light for
Right. Don't
plants.
spend no more money on buying nothing else. You bought
Right,
a grow light, that's what you need, a grow light.
right,
It's designed and set up for that, and it will help your seeds to germinate and do what you got to do.
right.
And people are giving advice in the chat.
Yeah,
I use the ashes from my barbecue, all kind of stuff you're going to start to realize that are important to your garden.
right.
I mix my natural clay soil, and I'm working on that, and mix it with the bought soil, and I created my own little thing.
Yeah,
Like,
and you gotta do it slowly but surely. You ain't gonna get it all done at one time, and then
no,
you're gonna have to let it break down and do what it's gotta do before it can even work well. A lot of
correct.
people think that when you first put them amendments in the soil, they begin working as soon as you put them down. No, they do not. The only thing that does that is if it's in liquid form, so it goes directly to the roots.
Correct. It takes time for
Otherwise,
things to
if you're
break down.
using anything else, it has to break down in order for the roots to get it through the soil.
Even Miss Native said use any lights, even her ring light. People
Yeah,
have
but you can't use any lights. I disagree with that. Sorry, but yeah, you can't use any lights to grow with because some
you'll
plants.
get different results, is what I'll say.
Right.
You'll get
Yeah, I'll say
different
that.
results.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you'll get better results if you use something that's designed for that.
There you go.
I've used regular lights. I have gotten food, but it
Right.
was much more difficult. They were
Yeah.
very leggy. They were very stringy, spindly, and it was much more
Right.
work to get them to a place where I could transplant them.
Yeah.
But it is better to use grow lights, but you get what you pay for as well.
Yes, that part.
Get what you pay for.
Please don't be
Don't
cheap.
take it.
I mean, save up. If you got to save up, it's going to be worth it because you can wait on it,
Yeah.
but don't just run out and
Yeah.
get something that's going to make do because once it go down,
Yeah.
you're going to have to make
Make
do. And what I say about make do, if you get to make do, you might as well buy two because one of them ain't going to last very long.
Correct. Use what you got. Nothing wrong with that. But you will get
Right.
different results. And I'm sure she's aware of that. And she knows how to, adjust it to make it work. But regular lights did work, but it was a lot more work to
Right.
get the seedlings to survive to transplant. The grow lights, I really don't have to do anything. It's my hands are literally off. And I
Right.
just make sure that the water's there. It tells me if it's going down. Like I'm just like, man.
Right.
But my seedlings, I had to learn because starting from seed is its own beast.
Yes, it
And
is.
a lot of people who are brand new to gardening are watching us, and the final video, a 5-minute snapshot, and they don't know how many seeds that you killed to get to that
Right.
5-minute snapshot. And they're there, oh, I'm going to grow from seed. I only
Right.
started growing from seed maybe in the last 5 years. I've
Right.
bought my starts, or I direct sow, because direct sow is a little more straightforward.
Right. If I see it
So
started, I'm out and I want it, I'm picking it up.
some of you are starting from seed and you've never gardened before. So
Right.
you don't realize it's
You
not
got to
so
be ready
easy
to
as we're
take
making
that
it look.
challenge on. You have to really understand what you're growing when you want to grow from seed, because yeah, this gonna burn somebody. But you can't just stick no seed in the dirt, because the dirt ain't growing nothing.
Yep. Soil has to be alive.
Right.
So, but if you're brand new, you have to learn. So you just do it and you'll learn from your mistakes. And that's going to teach you more than somebody telling you.
Right. And you have to make a mistake. If you don't make a mistake, how you gonna know? If
But this is the
everything
point.
grows perfect every time, you ain't gonna know what to do when you do have a mistake come up.
And everybody wants it perfect because this is the
Yeah.
image that's been presented on these quick videos and, oh, look.
Right.
And they
Yeah,
think
no.
that I'm just going to
Right.
plant a
And let
seed and
me
get the
tell these new gardeners something about a harvest. You're not going to get no big harvest on your first harvest.
no.
Everything is going to be small, from the strawberries to the tomatoes till whatever you growing. It's going to be small. But once you work that soil and get it to a degree where you can produce fruits and all of that, it'll get bigger.
And as
Because
your
I
soil is
notice a
being
lot of
built,
them say, I
it'll
only
be
got this or I only got that. No, you got something. You just have to cultivate that soil in order to get more.
right. TLC saying she uses a lot of regular LED lights, but she makes sure they have the right lumen and Kelvin. Exactly.
Yes.
You have that knowledge. Some
Right.
people don't know, so they have to just go to the store and say, I need a grow light. They may ask, what are you growing? Vegetables or fruits or a bit
Right.
of both? And they'll give you one
Right.
that can, do both. Or they'll buy a
Right.
hydroponics kit. I bought the Jiffy kit that came with the seeds tray and the light.
Yeah.
And the light was okay, but there's still some shadowy spots. I had to put a second light to make sure that it
Mhm.
was, and honestly, it wasn't bad. That was the best
Right.
result so
And
far.
what I use is a quantum board. It's the same as an LED, but
Mhm.
it has LED light fixtures, but it's flat and it comes with a bunch of different things you can get it with. But like, she uses the LEDs. There are bulbs also,
Mhm.
T5s,
I
T3s.
have
It just
T5s,
depends
yeah.
on, yep, it just depends on your space and what you're planning on doing with it.
This name saying I have all different lights. I have some types of grow lights. Some seeds don't want light until they actually get their first leaves.
Right.
So that you have to know what you're growing. And that's what
Right.
people who are brand new don't know all that. So they want just a quick, easy fix. And sometimes it's not so
Yeah.
straightforward.
And they
And
put all their seeds under the light and wonder why half of them don't germinate, because half of them don't require light to germinate.
right. And they don't even know about stratification. I didn't know about no cold. I'm like, what? Who? Huh?
Yeah. And
Who?
then how about some seeds have to be stratified not once but twice, because it has to go through a hot and a cold stratification.
So that's why start simple. Just grow a little tomato,
Right.
some lettuce,
You
and
can't
keep it
just pick up a
simple.
seed
And
and,
a
like I
couple of
said,
cabbage,
put it in the dirt and expect it to grow. You have to
because
know what you're growing.
start simple. Don't follow somebody who's been growing for 15, 20 years and doing
That
these
part.
exotic,
Because they got big, beautiful broccoli. You want big, beautiful broccoli, but your broccoli all little, and now you got a problem talking about that ain't how mine, because you have not been cultivating that soil long enough.
correct. Correct. Let me go to the next comment. Cassandra's saying, I grew from starts only for over 30 years. I just started growing from seeds in the last two. That's what I'm telling you. People think,
Right.
You can go buy starts. You can buy them on the
Yes.
clearance section too when they're ready to get rid of
Right.
them. That's what I did,
Yeah,
and I did
even
direct sold.
flowers and plants that's on the clearance section, if you bring them home and nurture them, they will revive themselves because it's the environment that they were in.
So there's a lot of people who think they have to start from seed. And that is its own. I'm telling you, it's not so easy. Not just drop the
Right,
seed and as Han says, put it in the dirt. That works sometimes, but
right.
when you're growing indoors in a seed tray where there's no wind and no sun, it's you have to control the entire
Yeah,
environment for those seedlings. It's not as easy as some of us make it look. We've
right.
been
And
doing it
air is everything with a plant. If you have seedlings and they just sitting there and you don't have some type of little circulation system on them, that's why they're struggling too, because they don't have anything to build up their strength to.
right. I had to start blowing a fan so they can start building
Yeah,
their little resistance and getting their roots
yeah.
because they were so dwindly.
Yeah, they have to build up their strength in order to even hold their leaves up because they can grow and then they damp off, and you wondering, well, why did it die? It wasn't strong enough to hold itself up. It had no air circulation.
Correct. That's why some people who start gardening should maybe buy starts.
Right.
And then Unicorn saying that's why they sell more than one seed in a pack for a reason. They may
Right,
not all work.
right. You can't just go and buy one little tomato or one little you got to buy that stuff in sets.
Because they know that some may not work. And that's
Right.
why people who have been gardening for years start their seeds in paper towel because they
Yeah,
want to know that the seeds are viable before they waste their time
cuz all seeds
planting them.
don't germinate. It's
Right.
not a guarantee.
And it could be nothing to do with you. It could just be the
Right.
seed just no good. You did
Cuz
everything
I just
perfect, everything
right.
right.
That's why I say I'm going to be planting more this year because I'm just learning. I need to plant more in order to figure out what I want and if I want it to grow here. And if
Exactly.
I want to continue to grow it, because I may grow it, eat it, and don't even like it. Like, no, I done grew this pepper and it's so damn hot I can't even hold my tongue. So I ain't growing that no more. But I wouldn't have known it if I wouldn't have let it, grow.
Tree Rogi is saying, forget the seeds, propagate plants. It's faster. And
That's true.
you'll
But it
learn.
depends
Tomato,
on what you want. Yeah, it
yeah.
depends on what you want. Some stuff that you want, you can't propagate it. You have to grow it from seed.
Yeah. So you'll as you learn and you become more experienced, but for a new gardener, propagating a tomato or whatever might be easier. Because once they get the
Right,
suckers, they'll, versus planting 20 seeds, maybe plant 5 or 6 or 10 and then
right.
take off the suckers and pop them in.
Yeah. I
But
started out with LED grow light bulbs too,
yep,
TLC.
yep, me too. I'm doing them right
And
now.
I was using, I couldn't find anything to hold my lights, in place. So I got those phone holder arm thingies, the
And
thing.
you just clamp them.
And I
Yeah.
clamped the light bulb onto the phone part and I clamped the clamp onto what I needed to clamp on. And yeah, that's how I had my light set up when I first started. So
The
yeah, I know
long and
that.
the short is there's more than one way to skin a cat. For those who have cats,
Right,
no offense, but she used cell phone hold like you just do what you got to do to make it
right,
work for you. And you know, even the lighting, even grow lights. We're having a whole talk about like lighting could be different. And depending
right.
on what you can afford, it depends on what you're going to purchase.
That
They
part.
all can work, it just may require a bit more work because of
Yeah.
the deficiencies in the light that you're buying. Doesn't mean that
And
it's wrong.
right. Something else I learned it from making videos and using lights is the lights that you take pictures with, the studio lights, those
Mhm.
grow plants very well.
Yep, that's what I borrowed one from a friend and started it with that, and then
Yep.
I gave
Those
it back and I
studio
said,
lights
"Okay."
that you
Yep,
use in the backdrop, those are
those are
excellent.
very
And
good.
they are huge. They are very large.
But they
But
work.
yeah, right.
So you can multitask if you're already into photography, let's say, then it's
That
2 for
part.
1, it's
Yep.
2 for 1. Then
Yep.
it
There you
saves you
go.
the expense. TLC's wrapped a metal shelving unit with Mylar. That's what I did. I have that's
Yeah.
my DIY
Make your
drawing
own.
shelf.
Yep. That's it. And when you make your own, you feel a lot better about it than if you would have went out there and spent $500 for that tent.
Correct.
Because
And then
had I
you'll
knew
say,
what
"You
I
know what?
know now, watching other people make their little setups, I would have never got no grow tent. And that's on everything. I'd have been making my own and been just as happy as if I would have spent $500 on one.
You just whatever you do, work within your budget and
That
just be
part.
okay with it, because
Right.
everybody will tell you, no, you should have did this, you should have did that. You
Right.
do what you can afford
Right.
and you make it work within those parameters, because we all can't go and go buy I want to grow a tent too, but the ones I would really want would cost $1,000 for the
That
tent, the
part.
light,
And you
the
should wait till you
ventilation.
can afford to get what you want versus trying to hurry up and get it because it's going to get better. That grow tent might not have been for you right then, right there. But if you save your couple of coins up, there'll be a better one coming along because they're making improvements on everything.
Correct. So set a goal and just save up for the goal. That's what I've done. I made a list of what I want.
Right.
And part of it is a grow tent because I am not bringing soil into my house and nobody can
Right.
tell me nothing. I'm not. I
But
told you, I'm done.
here's something from somebody that has a grow tent. Bugs still get in.
Yeah, but
Just because
they'll be
they
in the
say
garage.
it's got all these layers and it's
Yep.
impenetrable, you still get bugs inside of a grow tent.
Yep.
And light escapes also. So yeah,
Yep. So you have to do what's gonna work for you. And if you are tired of bugs in
exactly.
your house, I'm tired of bugs in my house. They're not coming in here anymore. So
That
the
part.
garage will have a grow tent, and the bugs can be happy in the garage.
Right.
They can live their
Can't be
best
mad
life.
about that.
I'll wear a mask so they don't fly in my face, and then I'll just check on things
Oh, that's the
and I'll leave.
worst. I can't stand for bugs to fly in my face. I had
Yep.
one take my eye out over the summer,
Yep.
and I had my glasses on. I was like, oh my God. I was swole up for days. Like, I can't even believe that sucker got me in my eye like that.
And Native is saying even with microgreens, every type of seed has a different way to get exactly. And the poor
Yep.
people, not poor literally, but people who are brand new to gardening are just so confused. It is
I
confusing.
know. I see it, and I'll be like, oh, I wish I could help. Oh, I wish I could, but I can't help everybody. So,
You just start with what you can with your budget and just keep it simple. And
right.
usually the dollar stores, the seeds that they provide are simple things to grow. That's where you'll get your lettuces, your
Yep.
cucumbers, your zucchinis, your beans, your corn. And you'll be thinking, these are boring. But
Well,
usually
you
these are
got to
pretty
learn how to grow
simple.
it first.
Yeah, learn how to grow it first. Then you can come and talk about the big league growing.
That
Because
part.
then, yeah, because that's why they pick those seeds at the dollar store, because they're simple.
Exactly. They don't want to send no seed, no exotic seed, and now it
No.
don't do right, and you coming back to the store, and they like, we don't know nothing about them seeds.
No. You'll get zucchinis in every color at the dollar store, and you'll get tomatoes, cherry tomatoes.
Right.
Yorkers are very
They
good. You get
only
some
sell what
beefsteak.
they know is gonna grow because they don't want them problems. And
Right,
they
and
do. They grow very well.
very well. That's my bush beans were all from the dollar store.
Right.
Those were the best. I still grow them today. I love them.
Exactly.
I don't want running beans. I like
And then once you learn
bush.
how to save your seeds, you ain't gotta go back to the dollar store no more. You can keep growing that same plant.
Right. And it's 3 for $1, not one, it's 3 for $1. So that's, and Tree Rogi is talking about propagating with the macro, but yeah, that's its own skill. But yeah, you can learn how to propagate.
Right.
So there's not one, there's more than one way. Keep it simple if you're really brand new and just start.
Right.
Doesn't matter what I say, she says, anybody else says, just start and you'll figure out things and you'll start to say, why is this not working? That's when you'll come back to the community, watch videos and figure out, oh, so-and-so did a video about, like if you want to know about that stupid squash, zucchini, what you call it? Zucchini vine borer. Growing Up the Box has a video with a surgical kit, how to extract it. When you get to that point and you realize why your zucchini is dying, then you'll come back and say, what happened? Oh, but if we tell you all of that stuff now, it's just too much information. It's just too much. Just
wait, what Growing Out the Box say about Miracle Grow?
What's funny is the same people who came down on you for using Miracle Grow have those big, pretty fruits from the grocery store sitting on their countertop. Do you? Exactly. And let's not even talk about the damn organic food.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Miracle Grow.
Did you see the news article about the organic food in Whole Foods?
I did not.
The gist of the story is basically that most of the food is grown in the red country, and the inspectors who are supposed to inspect the food really aren't really inspecting nothing.
Oh
And the
yeah,
F,
I've been knew
and
that ever since this junk
we
popped off
know,
because
yeah,
it's been a
we
shortage with workers. If it ain't no workers there to inspect what's going on, and then when they did have workers, the workers ain't trained properly because they knew just looking for a job because the old people ain't at work no more. So that's
so
a whole vicious cycle.
right. So the crops came in, and the FDA stopped many different crops for pesticides and residue of all these chemicals.
Yep,
So this store that you're going to, which is called Whole Paycheck, that you're spending your whole paycheck
that
to
part.
purchase from, are crops from the red country.
Yeah,
The
and it's
red
stuff
country
getting
cares
over
about
here, and
following.
they don't even know how it's getting over here. And I'm questioning, like, how you don't know it's getting over here though? They had a whole what you call those? I want is it a Whole Food store
Yep,
that
that's the
had
same.
that? Yeah, a Whole Food store was getting fresh fruits and vegetables from this spot, and they didn't know how they was getting them in. Like, really? You don't know how you getting this stuff into your store?
So some of you think, oh, I'm buying, it has this, that, because food has a sticker, it has like a 9, it means this, it has a this, it means that, and all
Right,
this, or GMO. Listen, you could put the wrong sticker on the wrong things, it don't mean nothing. We
right,
all know that. So the
right,
only thing you can be secure in is growing your own food. And
right,
I don't care what anybody says, as grow the box, whole food, Miracle Grow, or GMO or hybrid.
right.
Listen, you have too much time on your hand arguing about that.
That
Grow you
part.
some food. Grow you
That
some food.
part.
Okay? There's chemicals leaching from the thing that happened in Ohio. Do you
Right.
think I'm gonna sit here and talk about hybrid?
And it's on everything, like everything, everything.
You hear arguing about hybrid and whatever, but there's chemicals that are killing the fish, and
Right.
people's chickens and maybe pets are dropping like flies. And
Right.
you want to
And
argue
people
about
too.
hybrid?
Because they don't know. You don't know what make you sick until you get sick. And now you're trying to figure it out.
You guys are, some of you guys are arguing about things that we should have argued about 10 years ago. This
Right.
this this 2023, we have to be on a different topic. And
That
right now
part.
it's survival of the fittest, each person for themselves, each man for themselves.
Know
And
that.
you better have your own garden set up, because you ain't coming over here to get my food. Let me tell you that right now.
That part.
If I don't have enough to share, don't come over here. It's coming to that, because people here are trying to, like, oh my
Hmm.
God. Can you imagine if your garden now has been contaminated with this spill and these chemicals?
Right.
Some of them can't garden in their garden this year, or they're gonna have
Exactly.
to make some other arrangements.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy is I noticed the crap was coming in anyway because I kept getting this fungus. I'm like, what is this black stuff constantly on my plants? Because if you watch your plants, like I watch my plants, you notice when they get something wrong with them. And I kept seeing this black stuff, and then when I would touch the leaf, it'll rub off with my hand. I'm like, is this some kind of mold or
Mhm.
fungus or something? So I'm just like, it's something in the air.
Yep.
And I
And you
could look
can't
at the trees too. If I looked in the air at the surrounding trees, they would have this same like dying effect in a certain area where the wind is catching that crap, whatever it is.
you can't control what's in the air.
No, you
And
cannot.
people, I've been saying this because I've noticed what other people are saying, and I'm like, you know what, this ain't no joke. And people are arguing, hybrid, GM. Listen, you're on the wrong topic. You're 10 years too
Right.
late. The pollution is around.
That
It's
part.
dropping from the sky.
That
People are
part.
getting respiratory problems and all kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and you're wondering why.
Mm-hmm.
You
And the
can't be,
first thing that the first thing that shows any symptom is a plant. If you
yep,
look at a plant outside and it's in a certain area and all those plants over there are dead, there is something in that area going on. Because plants respond to uh the smell, the air, not only the air but the water. So if the water and the air mixed together is formulating this crap and it's falling on them, they gonna respond.
hey, weightlifting geek. I don't know what to tell. Like, I'm just here to talk and just figure out what I'm gonna do,
Right,
and in turn to motivate each of us to kind of rethink maybe what we're gonna do. But
right,
I do go to the whole paycheck store for certain things from time to time, but not necessarily for produce. I can grow it myself. And if
Right.
I can't grow it myself, then that's something that I'm not really heavily eating. That's just
Right.
the
And
way
you
that
have
it
to
is.
work up to it too, because you can't just grow it just because you see it.
Yeah, because you may not like it. And that's what happened
Right.
to me, a lot of us. Like, ew, I don't
Yes.
even like
I
this.
have grown something and I didn't like it. I was like, what in the hell? I ain't growing that no more.
We all need to understand. When I say you, I mean you as a collective, not G Mama. I'm saying you all, everybody, all of
Yeah.
us, myself included.
Yeah.
Understand that the food industry is not your friend.
Right.
If a whole paycheck store is making hundreds of millions of dollars off of your purchases and they're choosing to source their items from an outside country, that to me is problematic. Why isn't it grown in house if you're supposed to comply to USDA regulations? Then
Yep.
it should be grown in the US of A. And Lord knows you all have lots of land. It's not like you don't have land.
Right. And you should be questioning that before you even walk up to the spot. Like where you get your food from if you that
Right.
concerned.
And while we were here fighting over foolishness and arguing about, I don't know what we're arguing over sometimes, like I can't keep up,
Right.
farmers have been priced out the market because they can't afford to stay in business. That
That's
is
horrible.
was problematic then, and now we're feeling the pinch because now they're sourcing the crap from somewhere else.
Right.
We should have taken care of our own, even my Canada, our own farmers.
Yep, stuff is
Your
gonna
food
start
should
disappearing because of the fact they do get it from somewhere else, and they don't have that here. All these exotics and this and that. You have to grow what you need, what you know you want to eat, versus what they selling you because it might not be always available. You could be looking for avocados today, and they ain't there no more because they can't get them from where they sourced them from. But if you grew them, you know you got you a good avocado waiting on you.
and when you grow them, you would realize how much it takes to grow that item. And some of the stuff
Exactly.
that we're growing, like avocados is a good example, requires a lot of water.
Yes.
And the water they're taking from Peter to feed these plants.
Right.
And someone is suffering now for lack of water because they've diverted water to other places.
Right.
The industry is highly corrupt and it's not out for our best interest. But we're not arguing, we're not talking about that, we're not holding them to task. We're too busy in the weeds and all this is happening above our heads. And now
Right.
our government is she's saying, or he's saying, I'm not sure, won't allow the farmers to keep their own grown seeds for replanting.
To which I don't even see how that's possible. But
Well,
if that's what
if
they
you're a
say,
commercial farmer,
right. If you're a
then
commercial
yes,
farmer, then
you're
they
using
can come
GMO
in.
seeds. You're
Right.
using, and you have to, it's not that you can't keep the seeds. The seeds you won't get seeds. When you use GMO seeds, it's for one season.
Right. Because they
It's
don't
for
produce
one,
seeds. That's what
you won't
GMO.
get seeds.
GMO is genetically modified not to reproduce.
So you have to
It
keep going
produces
back
that
to
one
repurchase.
time, and then that's all you get. Those seeds aren't viable. If there is, they're going to be immature.
Correct. So I hear what you're saying, and that is true, but I think it's gone to another level now. You're
Yeah.
not gonna get seeds.
No, at
You're
all.
gonna it's not that's the whole point. You're gonna get one season of crops and you're gonna have to repurchase.
Right.
Motivation Joe's growing tomatoes, cucumbers, and hot peppers. Keep it simple.
Right.
Keep it simple. And as you do it, you're gonna begin to love gardening and love the taste of your own
Right.
food.
And if you're a
Then
new
you
gardener, to which I think the weightlifting geek might be a new gardener, there's
brand new,
this
yeah, brand new, yeah.
there's this item called a trellis, or you can use a stick, or you can use something, but you need something to hold those cucumbers up. And if your tomatoes get too large, they're gonna fall out of your container. So you need a stake. That's what they're called, stakes and trellises. That
Dollar
helps
store
hold
has
the
them
plant.
too. Yeah,
You
yeah,
need to
dollar store.
support your plant in order for it to keep growing.
Yeah. Hey, the chicken. Hey, GT Junior. I hope you saw me wave.
Hey
And I think
y'all,
yeah,
I can't see the chat at all. I'm just
but
here.
yeah, keep it simple.
Right.
You know, that's why it's important to as many of us as possible are growing our own food. Can you grow
Hmm.
everything?
No,
Probably not, because it's either going
no.
to be a space issue or a
Right.
time issue or just even your health. Some people are not able to do what they used to do.
Right.
But if we work together and, as a community, you can grow enough food to feed yourself and to store and preserve to
Yep.
last you through the winter.
Right.
And
And you have to know about planting and when to plant. However, you're growing, you have to do what's called succession planting because everything has a life cycle, especially if you're growing bigger plants. They only going to produce so much fruit and then they're going to stop producing.
correct. So now's the time for you new gardeners and anybody, even like I'm still new, I'm new to hydroponics. Now's the time to learn and make mistakes because your life is not depending on it. You can still go to the store and buy food if you need to.
Right.
That's not an
You got
issue.
time to figure it out.
You got time to figure it out. You got time to say, you know what, this didn't work for me. You come back to the community and you point out your questions or concerns and you figure out, okay, this is probably where I went wrong.
Right.
Like about the aphids. I didn't know the aphids were just up in the air, hiding in the crevices of the
Yep.
crack. And from the sorrow that I threw out 4 months ago, they probably were hiding in the crevice in the crack at the front door and hopped on up here when they smelt the cabbage. And then now I'm like, what?
Whew.
But
Yep, it happens
this is
fast
not to
too.
scare you. I've been gardening for longer, so I'm just trying to ask so I can figure out how to fix it. But those of you who are
Right.
brand new, just keep it simple.
Right. And if
Uh,
you see something, address it. Don't say, oh, I'm going to come back to it because you might not come back to it. And now you ain't coming back to a worse predicament than you was in if you would have handled it right then.
yeah, and stake all your tomatoes, Joe. Stake all of them. They all are going to get to a point where they're going to plump over because they can't
Right.
hold all the fruit that's on them. So when they're
Right.
small, and maybe I know what 4 inches tall, you
And
kind of guide
depending
them
on
onto
your
the stake.
variety of cucumber, it will definitely need a trellis.
Yeah. So I plant my cucumbers on the lattice fence so that they
Yeah.
can climb up the fence.
Right.
And then I kind of tie it to it. And yeah, that's what you got to do. And you'll learn as you grow and you'll kind of figure it out. But the dollar store has stakes. They always
Right.
have the green poles
Right.
that you can use as a stake. You can use cattle pat, whatever you figure out. But depending on your setup, I like to make my things look as neat as possible. I don't like That's why I didn't like gardening as a child because it
Right.
was always so like messy looking. But then I realized
I'm
it was
just now
it
getting into
was
the
my
cleanup
dad.
part. Yeah.
It was my dad. He was like he wasn't really the most aesthetic looking garden. Like I
Yeah.
did not know twine came in green. I thought it only came in the blue and the white because that's all I ever
Okay.
saw in the garden was the blue and white twine that stood out like a sore thumb from
Right.
10 miles away. I'm like, Dad, do you know there's green twine? Oh, I bought it in bulk by the rule. So we all had to suffer looking at this ugly blue and white twine. And that's why as a child, I'm like, this is ugly. Like, this is horrible. I used to hate gardening. And I realized it's not the gardening. I hate the look, the messiness of it.
Right. They got a lot of fancy clamps and clips and
What?
whatnot.
You have burlap looking twine where you don't have to see all that ugly. It can look all nice and
Right. That's what I use. I use
yeah,
the
I like my
burlap.
garden to look a little pretty-ish. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I don't like the
Right.
ugly.
I'm
And
just
then my
now
dad
getting
didn't have
into my
stakes.
little good decorations too. I like garden art, so I'm starting to put little decorations out there.
Yeah, I have pinwheels. I have little bells that in the
Yeah.
walls. Just make it nice. The
Right.
animals like to come. Well, not I hate the raccoon and the squirrels, but the birds. I like the birds and the butterflies. Well, except for the ones that ate my fennel. So those weren't that. Actually, no, they're all a problem. They're all a problem. They all are. The birds
It's
come.
more for me to look at.
And
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
the butterflies, and then I'm like, but the bees and I'm like, this is really like I'm literally I'm being held hostage over here. Every animal knows that I have things going on over here, so they're over here.
But that's what you want though.
Yeah,
Everything has a
ecosystem.
purpose.
But yeah, I didn't know about brown and green twine until I took over the garden. Then I realized, oh, I don't have to have these ugly colors and these
Right.
ugly stakes. I
Right.
can get nice ones that look like disguised. You don't have to see them stand out like a sore thumb. So
Hmm.
now things look a lot different. And he's like, well, we don't need all this. Yes, we do. We do need it. And then now he likes the black fabric, garden fabric, because he doesn't
Right.
want to have to deal with the weeds.
Right.
Now he realizes, like, yeah, so all the walkways are going to be of that, so that we don't have to be spending time weeding.
Right.
It's an expense, but it makes our life easier. And then we
Right.
rolled it up last fall. We rolled it up, put it in the shed so that it's not gonna like break down in the wintertime, and then we put it back out in the spring.
Yeah, depending on what
But
type
that's
of
so
weed
much work.
fabric you get, that weed fabric is the truth.
It's the truth. I used it last year on my interlocking stones, and I
Hmm.
didn't have to be sitting there every minute weeding the stones and burning with like that. This gave me at
Yeah,
least an extra 2 hours a week not
right.
having to weed.
And then if you got a big area and you lay down the cardboard first and then put down the weed fabric, that's really awesome.
That's what we did. So all the Amazon packages, we saved them in the
Yeah.
garage, and then now in the spring, I guess maybe March now, we'll put down once it gets a little drier, the
Hmm.
cardboard, put the fabric back down early enough because those weeds start early.
Yes,
Those
they
weeds
do.
are up by like Easter weekend, the weeds are up. And get the walkways set up so that we can start the garden. Because one year we
Hmm.
had so many weeds, we couldn't keep up. And they
Right.
weren't weeds. I'm saying the word weeds, they were not weeds. What happened was,
Overgrowth.
this is why at my parents' house, I've done no till for the last 2 seasons. My dad was always every year you till the garden. And that's what we did all of our life. Finally, the last year we got it tilled. I guess every old seed from every old plant that had, fallen in the ground
Right.
got brought up to the surface. And I'm talking callaloo that we haven't planted callaloo in 10 years. Why was the
Right.
place full of callaloo?
And
Seed,
that's what happened to mine too. That's how I get a lot of these mystery plants.
because he got someone every year to come in with a professional tiller and to
Hmm.
till the garden soil. And I said, no more. And I told
Yeah,
the
I
man,
reuse my soil, and I would think that nothing would survive because I sterilize my soil. But when I
oh,
use it, other things still be popping up. The
yeah.
mystery seeds be like, "Hey, I'm still alive."
So because I recognize the plants, I'm like, oh, these aren't really weeds, but
Right.
it was comfrey, it was callaloo, it was even some kind of brassica. I'm not really sure which
Yeah,
one.
them brassica seeds and something else, they would spring up out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. So we stopped tilling the garden for a couple of years. We put in the raised beds with some like 2x4s and some stuff we had around the place. And we used how I have here washing machine drums as a raised bed. And
Right. I've
somebody
seen
gave us
people
some.
doing that. I was
I'm
like, I
using
wish
washing
I would
machine
have thought of
drums because
that.
to go buy a metal bed is not cheap.
Right.
And then we got some soil delivered, and we added more
Mm-hmm.
to those beds, but we dug up the natural soil and filled the beds with that, leaves, limbs, whatever we could get naturally off of the property.
Mm-hmm.
And then we bought some compost, and now we're just leaving it.
Yeah.
And the weeds are still there, but because we're not tilling it, it's a little bit easier to control, except for one section that has this running weed. I don't know, it's some kind of flower plant
If it's
thingamabobber thing.
ivy, that stuff is ugh. It's
Like
hard to get rid of
ivy,
ivy.
it's like ivy, but it's not, and it's very invasive. Even with the fabric on the raised beds, it
Mm-hmm.
finds its way through the one opening, and just
Oh
you have
yeah,
to constantly be.
right.
Um, but that's the only other thing we have. And then the forget me nots. Oh Lord, they you can't forget them.
Oh,
And then
that
somebody else,
part.
and there's another plant that's
It's a weed that looked like a forget me not, and I thought it was a forget me not, but it's not.
it's
It's a
not.
weed.
Yeah. So it's gotten better, but we're not spraying. We're not like it's just natural
Right.
cardboard, landscape fabric, vinegar,
Right.
hand pulling weeds. We put fabric on the raised beds and burned holes for the actual plants to grow out of so that the
Yeah.
rest can stay more wet because it's not in the heat of the sun. That's helped out. Like all these things have helped, but
Right.
it's a permaculture kind of practice.
Yeah.
And people want to have an instant, I'm going to have a garden, I'm going to grow. No,
Yeah. No, it ain't gonna be instant. That ain't what it's gonna be.
it's a lifestyle, it's a permaculture, it's
Right.
symbiosis, working with nature in a way that's advantageous to you
Right.
and to the bugs and to the insects. You
And just
can't
because
kill
I'm
off
growing
everything.
marigolds, that don't mean marigolds gonna grow good for you.
Right. And mine didn't grow good, but at the parents' house, they were gigantic trees
Right. It's the plants can grow where they feel the
where
need
they
to
want
grow.
to, where they want to. And you have
Yeah.
to know that you're not the boss of everything.
Right.
You're there to guide and to mold, but you're not the boss of everything. You can't
Right.
control what gets pollinated, what does not. You can't tell the
Right.
bee, don't cross that one with this one because I told you so. They'll be like,
That
who
part.
are you?
That
Who
took
are
me a
you?
long time to figure out, especially when I
These
started
bugs are
growing
up at the crack of
outside.
dawn and you're
I'm gonna
rolling in
kill
bed.
everybody. I'm killing everything.
You sit,
I didn't
you're
want to
gonna
see a
kill everything
bug.
and the plants when you're
Right.
finished.
And that's what was going on. I was killing my plants. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to figure this out.
This is the problem. It's just you have to learn to let go of the control
Right.
when you're gardening. And a lot of what we discuss may be perceived as control. It's not
Hmm.
really control. We're trying to get the best results with the least amount of work. But you have to let go of the control and let nature work in the way that it wants to. You
Yes,
can't
indeed.
control. You can pour concrete as much as you want to. Those weeds are going to end up finding a crack or some kind of crevice,
Right.
and they're going to grow in that concrete.
Right. Because I always thought it fascinating when I was walking down the street to see a flower coming out of the crack of the road. Like, wait, what?
You can't control. You can't control. You have to just manage it,
Right.
and that's all you can do. Just start. Just grow something, and as you become more experienced, you can have deeper conversations. Don't take what we're talking about, aphids in the house and spraying and hydroponics and liquid, like that may not be where you're at. Don't
Right.
go and start buying all the things that we talked about.
Right.
I'm gonna buy it because I'm at that grade level where I'm
Right.
using those kind of liquid feed in my garden.
Right.
That's not for you right now.
Right.
And I don't want people who are brand new to start going
Yeah, because
shopping
I
and
know a lot
buying.
of people see a lot of things. Because I do it too, but at the same time, you have to use your own discernment. Just
Yeah.
because somebody else is doing something, that don't mean that it's necessarily going to work for you. You have to try it and see if it does work for you.
And research it before you even try it and
That
figure
part,
out. And
research is definitely the key.
yeah, because you may figure out that I don't want that when you start realizing what it is. Like some people, for instance, the whole bone meal and blood meal,
Right.
everyone's running to go get it. People who are plant-based and vegan and are anti this and anti that,
Right.
they're like, they don't want that in their garden.
That part, because you can
They,
substitute using beans and other things,
right, but nobody talks about that
and
because the default is
oatmeal
bone meal
and
and blood. Exactly.
right. Oatmeal is a great protein for your plants.
Right. And I'm not vegan, but it's
Long as
nice
you
to
ain't
know
got no fancy
Roundup.
flavors.
Yeah, no, whatever. Because if I already have things in my cupboard,
Yeah.
take care, D macro. If I already have things in my cupboard, I would rather use that than to go buy
Yeah.
all this stuff. But no one's ever
Yeah.
talking about that. They're just the
No. Yeah. They
default
just
is
running out and buy something because they think it's gonna work fast.
no. And I now that I know about the
Right.
beans are gonna be more useful to me because that can also
Right.
be used as livestock feed.
Yes.
Because I saw one lady using split peas and lentils,
Hmm.
and that can be used in the garden soil and to feed your birds.
Yeah. A majority of them because they all have protein base.
So if I'm buying one thing in bulk, that's going to be cheaper for me.
Yep.
You got to apply it to you because some of us are.
Yep.
I don't necessarily want bone meal or blood meal either. It's the same problem with buying
Right.
manure that could be full of glyphosates. It's the same
Right.
problem. If that animal was raised with full of antibiotics and hormones, I don't want that
Right.
either. So
Right,
you
because
have
you
to
surely
do
don't know
all
the
of this.
process of those animals that they're using that bone meal and stuff from.
You don't know. And a lot of us are following blindly, and you need to
Right,
take the time and figure out what do I want my garden to look like?
right.
What do I want? What do I want to spend? And how can
And
I
have
get the
take
most
some
bang? I'm
notes.
always about
Everybody don't take notes. It's important to take notes about what you're growing and how you're growing it and when you grew it and what was working and what wasn't working.
hmm you have to take notes. And that's if you look at even who was it? Which president had the garden? one of the old presidents had a garden at the White House, and he took a lot of notes, and he actually kept a lot of seeds and had a seed library that even to this day is used at the White House.
Well,
I don't even, I don't know
I
the
don't.
man's name. One of the
Right.
presidents. One of y'all's presidents. He had a he was an extensive horticulturalist and was interested in horticulture, and he had a seed library, and he took a lot of thorough notes and observations, and those are very helpful
Right.
even to this day because you
Right.
understand how things are working on that particular property, the
Yeah.
best sun angles, the this, the that, the companion planting,
Yeah.
and the notes are helpful. That
And
you're
a
not
couple of
starting
books also.
books and
Yes.
journals. He has journals, and it's like you don't have to start from ground zero. But
Right.
if you're starting on your own property, then you are starting from ground zero. If the previous
Yeah.
owner never had a garden there, they never worked the soil, they never had,
Right.
then you are starting from ground zero. And you're going to have to learn some things through experience. You're not going to get all the answers on one video on the gardening community. You're
Right.
going to have to actually do the work and make mistakes. And
Right.
there's no problem in making mistakes. That's the best ways to learn because you learn
Right.
real quick when you make a mistake or your plants all die
Right.
real quick. Anything in life, you have to learn through experience. This is not about being perfect. It's about putting forth an effort, and then you'll realize, oh, that's what they meant. Oh, that's
Right.
okay. I shouldn't spray the BT on the cabbages in the morning because the sun's gonna burn. Oops.
Right.
That's how I learned. You better
Yep.
spray them at night. Oh, it's not that sunny. I can get away with it now. Next day, the leaves are all burnt to a crisp. I had kale chips. I didn't have kale. I had kale chips outside. That's what happened. So that will never happen again because I learned my lesson.
Right.
This is what happened. Because you try to take shortcuts. I'm like, oh, I don't have to do it exactly like the person. Okay, I can modify it. Before
Right.
I even tried it, this is before I've actually tried doing it their way. I've already modified it.
Yeah, that's just
Then it
like when
goes
I be
left.
saying I be using stuff and I'm doing this and I don't do measurements because of the fact that my measurements are not your measurements. My 32 ounces might be your 30 ounces. Now you don't use my measurements and want to blame me because you messed up your junk. No.
You have to, and people, I remember if there's a few people who use products and they didn't read the directions on the bottle. You
Oh
have
yeah.
to die. They're like,
I know a couple of
I,
people like that.
I can tell you to use, you mentioned Super Thrive. I
Right.
gotta read the bottle and follow directions.
Exactly.
Just because you said use it doesn't mean I just take that straight from the bottle. I gotta obviously gonna have to
That
dilute it,
part.
and maybe I gotta double dilute it just to make sure that it's even weaker, just in
And
case.
that's another thing. If it says use a teaspoon, use a half a teaspoon. Don't go in with the full amount because you don't know what the full amount is going to do to your plant.
Yep, and start it off slow.
Right.
Then but nobody wants to actually read the
Right.
instructions or
Well,
read
I
anything.
seen so and so throw a handful of pot of bone meal in the bag. Well, you
Yeah.
don't know how they pour that bone meal in the bag
And
like that.
that's a chronic problem in any community, any gardening, any community you go to. They take what you said. You have to read the instructions. You can't take
Right.
shortcuts. And don't blame somebody
Exactly.
else because you burn up all your plants. Did you read the
Because
instructions on the bottle?
fertilizer is like medication. You have to know your dose.
Correct. And there's no point. I've heard people say, well, I don't want to use liquid fertilizer because it just runs through the containers in the container garden.
Well, that's not true.
Well, it's true if you didn't water your containers first and get them saturated so that the water's not running through.
Right.
You water your containers first, and then when they're saturated and they're moist, it's not going to run through.
Right.
Then you fertilize.
But if you don't grow, you won't know. You're only watching somebody grow and assuming that they're only doing that.
So somebody said that's why I'm not because I use granule fertilizer because it won't run through. Yeah, but
it makes
liquid
no
only
difference.
runs through when you didn't water your containers first.
Right.
I always fertilize usually after, a heavy rain, not right after, but like it's been a heavy rain. I know
Right,
they're moist. That saves me having to water. Then I'll put a little bit of liquid feed in there.
right,
If I don't feel like doing that, then I'll use the granule feed if I choose to.
right.
But don't say it didn't work. You didn't do it. You didn't use common sense.
That part.
Like if you let your pots get dry, you have to water it, let it run through. Water
Right.
it again, it'll run through less. By the third watering, then the soil is saturated.
Right.
Then
You
you
have
can
to
start
saturate those pots, especially if it's dry as a brick,
dry
because
as a
the
brick. Yeah,
soil becomes what is called hydrophobic, which will
hydrophobic.
not contain would
Not
not
hold
hold
water.
water.
No,
So
they won't
you would
hold
have to
water.
actually soak the pot. And the best example of that is if you have a fabric pot, rather than watering it from the top, get you a little something that holds water and you sit that plant inside of the water and you let the
That's what I
water soak it up.
That's what I've done for not all of my containers. Some of them I don't have a big enough container, but some of them I do.
Yeah,
And when it rains, I let that water catch in the reservoir and I put the
yeah,
bag in there and let it
yeah.
suck up from the like there's a way. I
That's
don't
the
like
best way
fabric
to do
pots.
that.
I really don't, but there's
Right.
a way you go about using it to their
Yes.
best advantage.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. Thomas Jefferson. Thank you, Cassandra. That's the president that was you know,
Okay.
yeah, he had a horticulture diary and he took thorough notes, sketches and everything, and that's still being used today
Mm-hmm.
because he had thorough. That's why the White House, they still have gardens. He was the one who brought that into the property and it's still there. And I think now they
Right.
have beehives there. They have a kitchen garden. I think, the Obamas had another garden. Like
Right. I done
they're
upgraded my little book to a monthly planner and it go for 3 years versus just monthly.
yeah, because you need to be able to go back to your archives and see
Right. Cause
without
I
having to go
had
pull out a
books and
notebook.
papers all over
Yeah.
the place. But since
Yeah.
I got the planner, everything is in one and it goes for I think 3 years versus
Yeah.
just day to day or.
And you have them in categories like this, you have to have
Yeah.
so you can find things. That's the point. You can take all the notes you want
Right.
to. If you can't go back and find it, it's like, what was the point
Right.
of writing
What
it?
day did I drop them tomato seeds or when do I?
Yeah.
Because it'll give you a roundabout, especially when it's almost time to harvest, you will know
And
versus
you'll
trying
learn
to
from the
guess.
notes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll realize what worked for you, what species maybe you like better, what was
Right.
more prolific,
And
when
mixing
to
up
take
your solutions and
right.
fertilizers. Because, like I say, everything should be measured. And when you're measuring stuff, you want to write that down so you know how much you use. So you don't have to guess the next time, like,
Right.
well, did I use 5 or 10 or did I use 3 or 4? You'll know because you wrote it down. Then that'll tell
And
you
how
if you
often you
used,
fertilize.
yep. And that'll
Yeah.
tell you how much if you over fertilized or if you under fertilized, you can bump it up or lower it down. It's a process. You can't just go in with the full teaspoon.
No. Gardening is simple, but at the same time it can be complicated because
Right,
the deeper you get into it and the more you want to get from it, maybe the
right.
more things you'll buy, the more products you'll buy, the more the
You'll know
technology you'll
what
put
you
in. Yeah.
need versus what you think you should buy.
Mhm. Exactly. So it's very simple and it can be, but I'm doing hydroponics now, so maybe it's a bit more for you. People will say, "Oh, that's complicated because now you got to." Yeah, it can be, but it's not. Because when
Right.
you're interested in something, you're
That
willing to
part.
learn how it
You have
works.
to be, yes, you have to be interested in it. If you
Yeah,
just doing it just because you see Sally firing it up, then it's not going to work out
it's
for you.
not gonna work. You're gonna get frustrated, and it's gonna feel like more work than it
Right.
really is. But hold on, let me just cough 1 second.
Yeah, but I can't see the chat, y'all. All I can say is know what you grow for sure. Don't just be growing it because you see other
But
people
that's why
growing it.
people listen. You have to be interested in it and just
Right,
do what you want based on your level of interest. If you don't
right.
want to take up too much of your time and you just want to get your feet wet, lettuce, tomatoes, beans, peppers
Yeah,
are
keep
pretty
it simple.
straightforward. Some of you guys are like now into fruit trees. So now we're talking about talking about fruit
Right.
trees. If you're not into that yet, don't worry about it. You don't have to buy no fruit trees.
That part.
You don't. You can just stick with what you want. And if you don't want, if you don't have a backyard, you don't have any space, and you want to grow indoors, do not bring soil in your house. I don't care what anyone tells you. You use hydroponics or liquid. It's just easier, and you're going to enjoy it more because you're not going to be fighting all these flies and all this stuff. And I have aphids, and I didn't think I had aphids in my house, but now I obviously do. So now
Right.
that's a new problem.
Right.
So once I get to a point where everything is maybe from the old plants that were in the house, no more, then my hydroponics will be fine.
Right. And you
Right now,
can't
I'm just
just
in the
treat
growing
one
pains.
plant or one area. You have to treat everything. If
That's
you
what I
got
did.
10 plants, you have to treat all 10. You can't just treat one or two because you only see it on the one or two. Because if you see it on one or two, that everybody got it.
Right. So I had to spray everything, and now I put too much DE. So now the whole place is one big white powder puff all over the
Right.
place. So everything just powder everywhere. And
I used to have panic attacks with that stuff. Every time I puff it, I puff it, I puff it.
oh my God.
Yeah, I had
So
to
I don't
learn
see
that.
anything else. I don't see anything else. And then the only issue, as I mentioned, is the lettuce tastes bitter.
Yeah, that's
So
in
it
the
could be
nutrient.
phosphorus.
Yeah, that's in the nutrients. You just got to work on your nutrient combination in order to not get the lettuce to taste bitter because they're feeding off of whatever their roots are getting.
Correct. And I did not realize how well I knew it would influence the taste. I just
Hmm.
did not think it would be bitter. I thought things would be more peppery.
And then
And
it
they would
could be
be
the variety also because the variety, it might be bringing out the flavor of the variety versus what it's, what you thought it was
yeah,
supposed to taste
yeah,
like. So if you
yeah,
switch your variety, it might be just the variety versus something going on with your nutrients.
yeah. I'm gonna research both because, as I said, I have butter crunch, burpee bib, I have black seeded Simpson, and I have the rouge,
Hmm.
and they
Which
all
one
seem
did
to
you
taste
chase?
all one of each, and they're all kind of bitterish.
Really?
I
Yeah,
did not,
that's nutrients then, if because they should
yeah,
not taste the same at all.
yeah, but they all have a little twinge of bitterness. I
Yeah,
planted romaine, but they're not up and about yet. And
right.
that's in the cracky one that's kind of already infested with whatever. But I don't know if I might have to just pluck out all of that whole
Hydrogen
unit.
peroxide, it'll clean
Okay,
it
so
up.
I'll spray that again. And then because I'm like, some of them look really bad. The poor plants look
Yeah,
like them. So if I can see a new leaf coming through, then I know they'll make it.
right,
But I might just pluck them out and just start fresh, just because it's just,
right.
yeah. And then there's neem oil
Sometimes you just
everywhere.
gotta start all over in order to get it right.
Yeah, just because it's more work to fix mistakes than to start fresh.
Yeah, because if you might be struggling with a struggling plant and it's just gonna continue to struggle, and now
Struggle.
you getting frustrated because you struggling with the struggling plant when all you had to do was remove it and start all over.
Yeah. So that's what I'm deciding. I'll see, but I have to do a thorough cleanup because right now everything's full of white powder and dust, and it just looks
Mhm.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
that
I'm
stuff
gonna
will
do it.
pile, and it's hard to remove too once that stuff gets stuck on there. That diatomaceous earth.
Yep. And I have to actually take the pods out of the unit and go rinse
Hmm.
them off, I guess, in the
Yeah,
spare bathroom, because now
yeah.
I can even see the little dots of where the aphids were,
Oh
and they're
wow.
dead because the neem must have drowned them. So I gotta rinse off the plants
Right.
and then put the pod back so that it can not have all that stuff on it, like the neem
What
oil and
works
all the
better? Yeah. Well, I found that I've strayed away from the neem oil and I started using the neem cake. Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I've never got it. Like I thought it would be the
Yeah, the
same.
neem cake is the same. It works the same as the neem oil, but what I do is I soak it in the water and I can spray my leaves and the soil all at the same time
So it's like
versus just
water and not greasy grease.
right.
Okay, because
Because
the
I was
neem is
using neem.
greasy.
Yeah, because I was the type that used neem oil a lot. It was so much that my plants were like not breathing because it was so much oil. They were shiny, very shiny, and they look good, but at the same time, they're not performing like they should be. But when I switched and I started using that, it helped
Uh-huh.
rinse some of that muck off, and they're doing a lot better.
Okay, and
But neem
is that
cake
for
can
your
actually
indoor
be,
and outdoor, or just you found that with your
yes,
indoor
yes,
and
neem,
outdoor?
yes, it can be used indoor. It's what it is
The
it's
pulp?
yeah, and it's ground up. I use the ground up because I use the pellet form, and it takes the pellet form a longer time to break down than if
Mhm.
you use the powdered form.
Okay. I'll have to look into it because I bought a big old bottle of neem oil and I haven't even used
Yeah, I
hardly
was
any of it because
doing that
a
too.
little
And you
goes a
go,
long way.
yeah, I went through a lot of neem oil real fast. And that's what made me switch because I found that when I use the neem cake and I'm constantly using it in my soil, I don't even see bugs crawling around on the soil no more because I used to see them crawling around. Now I don't see that no more.
So do you sprinkle the neem cake on top of your soil or you mix it in when you're
No,
mixing your
yes, you mix it in when you mix in your soil.
and then it's
And
just part
then,
okay.
yep, and then when you want to use it for a spray, you just soak it like a tea bag.
Okay. And
And you
then
use that, and then you can use whatever is in that bag that you soaked it with back into the soil again.
and that seems to be
That's
the
what I
same
do.
as the mosquito bits. You just put them in the water and
Yep,
let it soak out. So
yep. Because
I
I would rather do that, especially using those bits, because it's more powerful to use it when it done soaked in the water than to just put the bits down and try to wet the bits so it soaks into the soil.
yeah,
You
I
know
don't
what I
I
mean?
when I saw that as a version, I said, "No, I'm gonna soak it," and
Right.
then because
Because I
that's gonna
actually
get
got
more
some kind
surface
of
area.
mold or some kind of
Yes.
stuff was growing because you can use too much of those bits. Those you don't have to use very many of those bits.
No, but there's no surface area, as you said before, because it's just only where you put them. But if you
Right.
soak them, yeah, like that's
Yeah.
always been better. That's what I did even without knowing. I'm like, nah, that's not gonna work. I'm
Right.
gonna water, saturate, and spray it with this so that way
Right.
any larva or eggs that are hatching is gonna be continually
Yeah.
dealing with them.
And that's
That
what it is. You have to get to the life cycle of those eggs that's in the soil because you can kill the aerial all day long. But if they done laid 300 eggs, because that's what fungus gnats do, if
yeah,
one get on the soil, it's going to lay 300 or
yeah,
more eggs.
yeah.
That's what they're going to do. But you have to get to the root of the problem, which is the eggs in the soil.
Right. And then once you get the adults, you just put the traps, sticky traps, and
Right.
they're gonna die out because their
Yep.
eggs are not surviving.
The
So that's
numbers
it.
will
Yeah,
decrease
yeah,
tremendously
yeah,
and quickly, but you have to keep doing it. You can't stop. That's the thing.
yeah,
If you miss 3 days in a row, you're gonna see something flying around. You have
yeah,
to do it like weekly, at least weekly. Take a day and be like, well, Wednesday is the day I'm going through for my pest control. Next week,
yeah,
do it on a Friday. Next week, do it on a Sunday. Long as there's days in between, then you'll be okay with the pest management.
yeah. Because if you don't want to have to deal with the pest, you have to put the time and effort in,
Yes.
especially if it's in your house. Like
Right.
there's no shortcuts, but the end result's always going to be beneficial because you
Right.
have your own food. You know exactly what went into it and what did
Right.
not go on it, which is chemicals and whatever other garbage
Right.
they're putting in the food, and you can just eat with that confidence. And
Yeah.
you're gonna start to save money too, because when you start doing it right and you get a routine, you're gonna save a
Right.
lot
That's
of
what
money.
it is. A routine. You have to have a routine.
You're gonna save a lot of money because lettuce right
Mhm.
now for 3 romaine lettuce was $8 for organic and
Ooh,
$5 for non-organic,
oh
4 to
wow.
$5 for non-organic. And it's not the big romaines, it's a small, like,
Right. It
mini
ain't the heart,
romaines.
it's just the leaves.
No, it's not the big ones like you get like last year. Like
Wow.
they scale down significantly. Cucumber, same thing. There's certain things that lettuces and
Mhm.
cabbages and endives, things that are pretty much used to be cheap, not so much
Mhm.
now. If you can get them on a cycle in your hydroponics, I'm telling you, you're
Right.
gonna save lots of money.
Right.
Cherry tomatoes. I'm looking for the mini ones like Mike has, so I can grow
Yeah.
the dwarfs
And
in
that's
in the
another
house.
thing. If you're growing in hydroponics, you have to look for things that say mini or micro dwarf. Because
Yeah,
if you put a regular seed inside of a hydroponic unit like everybody is using, it's gonna outgrow that unit and you ain't gonna know what to do. And then when you transfer it, it's gonna have different roots should you decide to put it in the soil. So it's gonna die because it's
because
used
you
to the
have long,
water
stringy
roots.
roots and not the ones that you need to draw from soil. Exactly.
Right.
So
They're
if you're
gonna
gonna
have different root
transplant it,
structure.
you gotta transplant it when they're young. Not
Right.
wait till it's a big old plant and say, okay, now I'm
Right.
going to put
Don't
it
wait till the
outside.
roots come out of the pod. Once those roots come out of the pod, they're going to be looking for something. And if it's water, that's what they're going to be looking for. But if it's soil, that's
Take
what they're
care,
going
Miss
to be
Maven.
looking for.
But we don't people want to wonder, why isn't things working? Did you have a plan when you started this whole thing?
Right.
It goes back to the plan. And what am
Right.
I personally planning for 2023? Because I got to have my plan decided on in the next 2 weeks, because I need to start my seeds
Mm-hmm.
kind of nowish between,
Mm-hmm.
so now I got to wash my trays and sterilize them, because
Yeah.
I don't want to
That's
have to risk
important.
diseases.
Yeah, that's important.
All my blue cups from last year, solo cups, I got to wash them. I
And
gotta,
sharpen your tools. That's what I'm going through right now. My little snipper stopped snipping, and I'm like,
yep,
wait a
and rust.
minute.
You
Don't
gotta
run out and buy some, because that thought crossed my mind. Oh, I just go get some more. No, I'm gonna sharpen this thing and we
sharpen
gonna get
them,
it right
clean
back
them.
like I was.
Yep. And you got to get your plan and figure out, so on Sunday, I'm going to figure out with the family what we're planting. We have a list.
Right,
How many of each?
right,
And then that's my guideline. It's not like the written in stone, but if they want 10 of each thing, I might
right.
do 12, because, some might die. Some might,
Yeah, yeah. Always grow extra.
I don't wing it.
Right.
I don't have I'm not like carefree like that. I have to have a plan. I need to know how
Yeah.
many of each thing I'm planting. I have the
Mm-hmm.
seeds organized. I have the schedule. So I plant this week.
Mm-hmm.
The next week I plant these ones. I can't do tomatoes too early because they're gonna get too big in the house. Same with
Yeah.
watermelon and
That's
can't
why I got
today.
this planner, because I'm just now getting on board with the planner.
Yep.
I only been planning since like 2022, and I've been growing for
Yep.
a long time. But since I got this planner, everything is coming together better.
I gotta still harvest my carrots that are in the garage in the grow bag, because I gotta start planting them soon, because they can plant very early over here. You can plant
Okay.
carrots early, put the cardboard on top, and they'll pop up when it's time.
Right.
What can I direct sow? That's what I had to learn last year. I don't have
Right.
time to start all my seeds inside. If
Right.
nature can help me with the other ones, I'm going to plant those outside.
Yeah. There are a lot of them. If you read the back, it says cold stratification or needs cold time. Those are
Yep.
the ones that you can put out while it's cold.
You can plant lettuce when it's cold. You can
And
plant
they'll be ready by the
arugula.
time the spring get here.
Yep. You can plant carrots. You can plant your beans, not too early, but earlier than you think. You can
Right.
plant corn. So that way, as soon as it gets warm enough, they'll wake up and they'll do their own thing. Just
Right.
cover them up from the squirrels, because those squirrels are disgusting.
That part.
And make sure that there's a cover so that they're not digging them up. And they'll do their
Mhm.
own thing. Once you see your tulips kind of popping up, for those of you in the cold climate, your little tulips kind of emerging,
Right.
a lot of things you can plant.
Yep.
Direct
That
sow,
means
I
your
mean direct
soil is
sow.
warm enough for you to
Yeah.
plant in.
Your mustard greens you can plant. My mustards did much better in the cool spring than the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to go into the ground. All those stuff is going to go in the ground, and they'll be fine. You have to some of the stuff that we've learned about when to plant is best case, to get the best results. But you
Right.
can push some of those dates a little bit, not too much, a little bit.
Right.
A
But you
little
got to
bit.
try. You
But you
won't
got to
know if you
try.
don't try it.
And just cover them up to protect them from any frost or whatever. But as long as it's
Mhm.
warm enough, they'll be okay. And I don't want to do more work than I have to do. So direct
Mhm.
sowing, I have my list. And my gardener did a list maybe 2 years ago of what you can plant in, earlier in his zone, which is like
Right.
my zone, Michigan. And
Right.
I just copied his list. Even
Right.
spinach, I planted direct, and he was right. And the spinach,
Mhm.
I find, sometimes doesn't germinate as easily indoors as it does on its own outside.
Right.
So why fight? Let nature do what nature does best, and just guide it along.
Right.
And then the rest that I cannot wait for, I start indoors so that they have a good, the hot
Right.
peppers, the, eggplants, those I do indoors. But what I
Mhm.
can do direct sow, I will go in the cold and I'll get my stuff ready and I'll just go out there and plant them and leave them and let
Right.
them do what they
That's
need to
why a
do.
lot of my junk didn't make it when I first started outside. Because once it got warm, I'm just dropping seeds everywhere. Oh, let me put this seed over here. Oh, let me.
Yeah.
Man, it wasn't even a month or two later, it started getting cold. I said, "Oh my God, my flowers ain't opening up. I ain't getting no
Yep.
fruit." That's because I didn't know when to plant.
Yep. And my flowers last year, I didn't get one marigold, So this year I'm gonna maybe do a bit more reading, not too much, just a bit. So at least get
Right,
the marigolds. I got no zinnias, but maybe two popped up. I got nothing else popped up.
right.
So I didn't have as much pollinators as the year before, but I had
Mhm,
butterflies because they were laying
mhm.
their damn eggs all over my stuff, and all these caterpillars were everywhere. Because
Dang it.
I decided I'm going to plant dill and fennel for the first time.
I'm planting
Not
some good, more dill myself because it did real good. Dill and cilantro,
hmm
man, yeah, those bring in those beneficials real good, especially the
Yes,
cilantro.
they love it. And now that I realize they
Hmm.
love it, I'm going to plant them further away from
Right,
certain things so they can
right.
have it over there.
Yeah, trap crop. That's what them is
Yep,
called.
yep. They're going to go with the trap crop. So you can lay your eggs over there, and the ones
Yeah.
over here are for me to actually eat
For new
and draw
gardeners that
from.
don't know that, you should actually plant a trap crop. A trap crop traps bugs that you don't want on your good crops.
Correct. And as they always say, you plant one for you, one
Right,
for the bugs, and one
right,
for the animals, and one extra just in case.
right. Plant more
So if
than you
you want
need.
4 plants for yourself, they're not all going to be for you. So you maybe
Right,
need to plant 6 or 8
right,
because you're not going to get all of it. The
right.
squirrels are going to get their share, the raccoon, the groundhog, the birds are going to get their share, the insects are going to get their share. Then some are going to die and dry
Yep,
rot and blossom and rot, and you're going to have fungus and you're going to have, all kind of problems.
right,
So you have to calculate that in the quantity of seeds that you drop. Just
right.
be conscious of that because you may be disappointed as a new gardener. Oh no, I didn't get what I wanted. I didn't get what I
Right,
thought I was gonna get. But you have to, no matter how experienced you are, you plant one for you,
right.
and then the other 3 are for everybody else because you ain't getting all 4 plants. That's just how nature works.
That
You're
part.
you're in their territory. We have to remember we're in their backyard. It's not yours. You
Right.
just you just live there. It belongs to them. So you need to pay your rent and pay your taxes, and that's paid through produce. And
Mm,
they will, you know, and you try to live a balanced life with your garden. And once you have that in mind, you'll be fine. Hey, Miss Ellen Pankey, you'll be
mm.
fine. And you'll always have enough. The one thing about gardening multiplication, you will have enough. All you do is drop one seed, but that one seed will give you so
Right.
much food.
Hey,
It's
Auntie
not even
Ellen.
funny. Oh, let me put her up so you can see her. It's not even funny.
Hey,
You know what I'm
Auntie.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the multiplication, so the work you're putting in will never be equal to what you're getting back. It
Right,
always gives you back 10 times more than you've really put in. But if you're
right,
smart about it, you can put in as minimal amount of work as possible, especially for those of us who are getting older and you don't want
right,
to be bending down and digging hole it's too much. Some of us have injuries and knee
right,
injuries and stuff. So you don't want to be putting too much work and hurting yourself, but you do want to get some food.
right,
Nothing's wrong with trying to find an easier way of doing stuff.
right.
And for us right now, it's raised beds. I'm
Yes,
not bending down in no ground.
that part.
I may not get back up, so I better find something a little taller, get a stool, do what I need to do. Because if I go down, I may not get back up. And it's you have to kind of admit that you're not what you used to be. It's
Right.
not easy, but you're gonna have to admit that I'm not bouncing back as quickly as I used to. You have
Yeah,
to
that took
start
me a
making the
long
adjustment.
time to understand.
Yeah, you're not bouncing back as quickly, so maybe you need to start making some modifications so that you can grow old in
Ain't that
your
swift
current home.
little whippersnapper I used to be.
Yeah. Oh, I can dig that hole. Yeah, I ain't digging nothing. Telling people right now. Oh, I ain't doing nothing of that. None of that.
Right,
I don't want to pay someone to do it if I ain't doing none of that.
right.
Not doing it. I tried to dig a hole last year and I pushed so hard and nothing moved.
Oh Lord.
And then my knee was just like feeling the vibrations like Fred Flintstone. Like, zzz, ding, 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 ding,
Oh
ding,
my
ding.
goodness.
And you're trying to like a solid clunk of clay. I'm like, what is happening? My poor little knee. I'm like, I ain't digging
Mm,
nothing.
mm.
I ain't digging nothing. I'll pay for that. You know that attachment that can drill the holes for you for the bulbs and stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the best. I'm gonna buy that. I'm
Yeah.
not sitting there digging
Any help is helpful.
any help. You're the one feeling the pain when you're doing it. Ain't
Right.
nobody there telling you. But anyways, I've been on here too long. It's almost 1 o'clock. I
Oh
gotta have things
Lord,
to do.
is it
G Mama, we got things to do. We got
that
stuff to plant,
part?
G Mama. We got to go.
Oh my God, my battery's on 16%. Yeah, I
Girl,
know.
we got to go. It's time for us to go.
All right, y'all.
Thanks for coming up, G Mama. Appreciate all your knowledge and information. That was very helpful.
Thanks.
And guys, rewatch it because she dropped a lot of gems.
Peace
Get
and
your
love,
notes.
y'all.
Peace and love. Get your notebook down to write down what she told us because I didn't retain it all. I'm going to go back and watch it and jot down my notes. Thanks for coming in. I know a lot of you in and out and left, but watch the replay. She gave a lot of good information about gardening and some questions about some problems we're having with hydroponics and so forth. Great live, great conversation. Thanks for popping in. It's for me, it's a long weekend. I got stuff to do. I'm going to go do that. I'll see you in these YouTube streets this week, except for Monday's a holiday. I'm going to probably be chilling on Monday, but I might do a pop up. You never know. Have a blessed week. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Be patient. It's not about being perfect. We can make mistakes, but let's learn together. And oh, and Gina, you got the box, right? It should have gotten there, right? I'll wait till you say yay or nay. I want to make sure it got to the right. It got into your hands. Thanks, GT. Oh, I didn't mean to have a long live, but sometimes some are longer than. That's why I only go once a week because, I don't know if I got an email. I think you got it, but let me just make sure. If you're not driving, that you got the package. I don't see anything. Oh, you did. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, good. And I hope that, okay, so that means I guess nothing was broken because, these people fling the boxes all over. Okay. So take care, guys. I'll see you in these streets. Today is 2:00. That reminds me, yes, 2:00 is Gina's live. Today's a giveaway on her channel. So check in her channel at 2:00 today. Monday is My Fly Family. I don't know if it's a holiday for you guys. I think they'll still be going live on Monday. I don't know if anybody else is. I think today's the chat. I don't remember. I think so. So it's either on Nikki's channel, the OCDist chick, or it could be on Hands in the Dirt's channel. So let's check one of the two to see if when they post it, I just click remind me. So I don't know whose channel it's on this week, but the chat. And Wednesday is Erica My Fly Family at 5 p.m. Thursday is Miss Ellen at 4 p.m. I believe. Every day in the work week is the weightlifting geek. Planter Gardens on Thursday at 7:30 or 8:00 p.m. Eastern time. And and other people. Okay, the chat is tonight. So 2:00 is Gina. 7:00, I believe it's 7:00 is the chat on Nikki's channel. The Everyday Life of an OCD-ish chick. And tomorrow is, I think, might be Broke Farmer. I'm not too sure. Check Broke Farmer. He usually goes live about 3 p.m. ish. And I mentioned the other ones already as well. And I think that's everybody. And I'll be posting people on my community tab. If I see some videos that they put out, I'll share them out. So just keep your eye out. And I'll see you next week, God willing. Bye-bye. And you can type #urban. I'll leave it on for a few seconds. So you can type in #urban, okay? To drop your link.